I see what the problem is. Just kidding. Can you hear me now? Type a one in the chat if you can hear me. Who's in here? There's 6 people in here. Who's lurking? can you, can you hear me now? Let me know if you guys can hear me. All right, perfect. What's going on, you guys? How's it going? We're just hanging out. I'm really just testing out this broadcasting software that I'm using, just making sure that it works. How does it sound? How is the sound? Is it good? You guys can hear me? You guys say you guys can hear me? What's going on, you guys? What's the new news? Anything new so far? Shout out to Innocent Killer. Cindy from sunny South Florida. Honestly, I was just really testing some stuff to see if it would work. But while we're here, just wanted to review this this tweet that SF Investigate put out. I know it's late. We're just hanging out. There's 8 people in here. That's crazy. We're just testing it. But yeah. Stoic, what's going on? Welcome. Thanks for hanging out. What's going on, you guys? How have you guys been? It's been a minute. It's been about, what, 3 days since I've been on? So, you know, we're just hanging out. Wanted to check out this this tweet that SF Investigates put out. There hasn't been any kind of breaking news on this case, so, you know, we're just hanging on and waiting for something to pop off, but nothing's popped off so far. So let me play a little bit of music though, because I don't like it when it's so loud or so quiet. Who else is in here? We got 8 people in here. Who's lurking? Oh man, it's like 12:30 in the morning here, at least here in LA. Cindy, isn't it like 3 o'clock in the morning over there? Are you still wrapping gifts? Can you guys hear the music? Let me know if you guys can hear the music. Sorry, I just wanted to kind of hear it from my phone to see how it sounded. Let's kind of turn this down a little bit. Let's kind of read it because I know that the SF Investigates put out a tweet. I haven't actually read it yet. I've just kind of been watching everybody kind of report on it, but I haven't really read it myself. So let's go ahead and take a quick read at it. Oh, 14 people in here. Oh my God, who's lurking? What's up, everybody? Welcome. We're just kind of hanging out. We're just chilling. We're just kind of vibing. It's 12:30 in the morning over here, so we're just hanging out. I'm just like testing my Nightbot and all that stuff. Just trying to see if all this stuff will work. But while we're here, we can probably read the new tweet that well, not new because he put it out yesterday. So we can go ahead and review that, and then you guys can give me your thoughts down in the comments. What do you guys think about that? So yesterday, when did he put this out? December 20th. It's already the 22nd. So yeah, 2 days ago. I'm late. Master Death. You're in Canada right now? Okay. That's what's up. Canada's in the house. Shout outs to Canada. Alright, so SF Investigates put out a tweet that said, I strongly believe that the cause and manner of death have been determined and that the medical examiner's investigative report is complete in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case and have been since November 20th or 21st. Although it has been reported that the court denied LAPD's first request for I can't even read right now, for a security hold on the medical examiner files, I believe that reporting is incorrect. Wow. So he's making a statement, right? He's really saying that, he believes that what's going on is not right. There's something fishy going on. Basically calling out this court order, I'm assuming, right? Fun lovin'. 5:29 p.m. in Tokyo. Wow, Tokyo in the house. Japan, what's going on? Shout out to my people in Japan. Tokyo, that's tight. That's dope. I think Tokyo and Australia are probably the furthest supporters, but let's keep going. Security holds are not requested from the court. They are made directly by requesting agencies to the medical examiner's office by email and then evaluated internally. In its press release, the medical examiner's office stated that it denied the initial request on September 15th. I am confident there was an understanding that once the cause and manner of death were determined, likely November 20th or 21st, the LAPD would be notified and given a specific window, likely 24 to 48 hours, to seek an ex parte court order to seal the files. Upon this notice, I believe LAPD then went to the court seeking to have the files sealed, since their earlier request for a security hold had been denied because the medical examiner's office did not believe a lack of transparency was justified. It's also important to note that the LAPD stated in its own press release that it sought the court order only so detectives could learn the details of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death before the public, and not to undermine transparency, which kind of makes sense, right? I think, oh, we got Hawaii in the house. Shout out to Sandra. Lurk Lifers. Yeah, no, he posted this actually on the 20th, so in the late evening on the 20th at 9:32. And I haven't really paid attention to it, so I'm just kind of reading it. To be honest with you, this isn't like a real live stream. I'm just kind of I'm on here right now just to kind of test things because I was messing around with my OBS settings. We're gonna play some more music though. But yeah, we're just reading it, hanging out with you guys. That's crazy. 12 of you guys are in here, and this is just a test. So thank you guys for hanging out. Let's see, where do we leave off at? I think we read this already, right? Not to undermine transparency, if detectives have now received that information, shouldn't the documents now be unsealed? So SF Investigates is really kind of pushing the envelope here. He's really telling either the LAPD, right, or the medical examiner's office that these files should already be released. Why do you guys think that these medical records are still sealed? Do you guys believe that there's a dispute going on behind the scenes? Do you think that these medical records will tell us something that we're not ready to hear? Or do you think that they want to make sure that they have all of their T's crossed and their I's dotted? I'm just kind of curious to see, like, you know, I wonder what makes him think this. Yeah, really weird, right? When I saw this last night, it came out later on, like really late in the evening, and I was just really curious, like, why is he doing this? What's the whole point of this? Let's go ahead and continue. Said, I continually hear it said things have to be kept completely secret so it doesn't jeopardize the case, but nobody ever explains how it jeopardizes the case. Either a person is guilty or they are not. If they are truly guilty, then you cannot overcome the evidence. Attached is a screenshot from the LA County Medical Examiner's own policy and procedures on security holds. This is just my belief, and I do not have any inside knowledge about this. I mean, I think we can kind of tell that that's kind of BS, right? Because SF is kind of directly involved in this case. He was hired by the homeowner of the mansion, so of course he's involved in this case. And if I'm not mistaken, he testified in the grand jury. You know what, Cindy? That's a very great question, right? I feel like that's kind of been the question that's kind of come up in the past week. Let's kind of go back, right? Because let's see. Okay, so I just kind of went back to his tweets. Let's see the last time that he posted about this case. Okay, the last time he posted about this was he specifically put out that tweet about the burn cage, right? The incinerator that was found at the home. Apparently the one that hasn't been used. It was still in the box. What was the whole point of that, right? I feel like nothing's really kind of come up. Nothing has been new. There's been, no new breaking news. And I feel like anytime that kind of goes quiet, cops can seal them with the person is, when the person is a minor. Actually, you know what? That's a great point, Master Death. I was gonna say that. Because Celeste Rivas Hernandez is a minor, I don't see a problem with that. Now, the one thing that I'm really curious about though is is the sealment of her records preventing the family from understanding what happened to her? Because if that is the case, then I can understand where there's a problem with that. I can see where there's an issue, right? But at the same time, the medical examiner, the LAPD, they don't have to give us any kind of information. I know, because we're so invested and we're so concerned about the progress of this and getting justice for Celeste, that we want these records in our hands now. But I think we have to also understand too that we're probably not going to get them. And because she is a minor, I wouldn't be surprised if we never get them, if they stay sealed forever. Cindy said, in my humble opinion, SF needs to keep stirring the pot without nothing concrete. And you know what, Cindy? It's a great point, because I was talking to somebody the other night, and it kind of dawned on us that everything that we are actually and I don't know if you were there, Cindy. I think you might have been in the voice chat on Discord. But we were talking about it, and everything that we've talked about besides this medical examiner's report and the little notes that LAPD's kind of put out on X. Where is it? I think it's no. Is it this one? They put something out here. LAPD PIO. It was on November 25th. Let's see. Where is it? September already? LAPDPIO. Let's see their post. We'll look for it really quick. The 25th. Where is it? Is this it right here? Right here. You guys remember when they put this one out? It said the Los Angeles Police Department is aware of the recent stories posted by various media outlets about the D4VD Celeste Rivas Hernandez investigation and would like to dispel some misinformation contained in their reporting. The body of Celeste Rivas was not frozen when it was discovered on September 8th, 2025. Now, I was reading that statement, right? And that statement's really vague. It doesn't really give you much. It just tells you that upon discovery of her body on September 8th, it was not frozen. It doesn't answer anything to us and doesn't tell us if it was frozen at one point, right? It also claims that she had not been decapitated, so her head was still intact. We have evidence that D4VD traveled to the Santa Barbara area sometime during the spring of 2025. The report for that trip is still under investigation, and we've drawn no conclusions at this point about the relevance of this trip to the case. Now, as far as a court order, the LAPD sought to seal the records of the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's investigation into Celeste Rivas' death. That was sought only to ensure that detectives from the Robbery Homicide Division learned of important information surrounding her death before the media and the public. The order was not sought to undermine transparency. No other information will be provided at this time. Let's see. Cindy said, I was part of the voice chat but missed the beginning. Ah, you did? Okay. Can David even keep a fire going or even start one? He didn't even know what lawnmower was called in that little documentary about his home life. Little rich kid from the start. Yeah, you know what? And I wanted to watch that. I wanted to take a look at it. Maybe we can, if you guys are up, maybe we can just watch it for a little bit. But yeah, you know, I don't understand the whole point. First of all, let me say, you know, we do have to give a shout out to SF Investigation, because if it wasn't for him, we would know absolutely nothing about this case. We'd know nothing. We'd have no direction in which we go with this, without all the little breadcrumbs that he's been dropping, right? Which is kind of allowed, you know, the people on Reddit, people on social media to kind of do what they do. Let's see. Sandra said, Cindy, I agree. SF definitely needs to keep steering. I think they will disclose the manner and it will be public knowledge eventually. That's a great point. Well, I hope it does, right? I really hope that it becomes public knowledge, because the fact that she is a minor, I just hope that, you know, if everything goes to trial, that we would be able to get our hands on it and kind of see it. Master Dad says, I think LAPD are lying about her not being decapitated because how she fit in the Tesla trunk. The math don't add up. Now, I agree. It's a little weird, right? Having her body placed in the frunk of the Tesla Model X, knowing that it's only 6.5 cubic feet, is a little questionable, right? Without doing any kind of harm or damage to her body in regards to dismembering her, right? I do think that is a little weird and a little off. But a month ago, it's almost been almost a month. We're 3 days shy of a month from when the LAPD put out, I want to say this was their last statement regarding Celeste's case. What else happened? Let's see. I don't know if the medical examiner put anything else out. I know that the day before, the medical examiner put out a statement, right? We know that the chief medical examiner, Dr. Uday Ukpo, put something out stating that on November 21st, the County of Los Angeles Department Medical Examiner received a court order initiated by, and this is just to kind of explain the last note that I read about the LAPD. Received a court order initiated by the Los Angeles Police Department to place a security hold on medical examiner case 2025-14252 Celeste Rivas Hernandez. No records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and medical examiner report, can be released or posted on the website until further notice. The department's mission is to have full transparency with the community by providing information about our cases to empower people to make changes that save lives, said Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Ode Ukpo. And since becoming the department head, I've worked on eradicating the practice of placing security holds on medical examiner cases simply by law enforcement request. The practice of security holds is virtually unheard of in other counties and has not been proven to improve outcomes in the legal system. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in this case. The department previously received a request for a security hold from the LAPD on this case on September 15th, 2025, which was denied due to insufficient justification. Insufficient justification to warrant that hold. The department understands the public's interest in this case and remains committed to transparency when possible. Information will be made available once the court order is lifted. For questions about the court order, timeline, and law enforcement investigations into this death, please contact the LAPD. So I'm curious what's going to happen, right? Let's go back to SF Investigates, because is it this one right here? Oh, we can just go back to it. Where is it? So after he put out that long novel, right? He put out something, I guess this was a screenshot from the medical examiner's office, and it has to do with their policies. And so it states the placement of a security hold by a law enforcement agency on a homicide, officer-involved shooting, in custody death, or other medical examiner cases will limit the amount of case-specific information that may be released to the media or other interested parties by the Department of Medical Examiner. Oh, there's a fire at a church a mile away. The placement of a security hold does not restrict the release of the case number, name, date of birth, or date of death if the decedent is identified and the legal next of kin has been notified. All requests for security holds must be submitted in writing via email to the DME's Public Information Office. The requests should be on agency letterhead, dated and signed by supervisory personnel of the requester's agency, for example, if it's the sergeant, lieutenant, or another supervisor. Once a security hold is submitted in writing, it will be reviewed by the DME for determination. If the hold is approved, written authorization is required from the law enforcement agency for the release of the security hold. Should the requesting organization determine it necessary to extend the approved hold, it must be submitted in writing. If the medical examiner approves the security hold on a case, any written press releases or public statements by the handling law enforcement agency should be coordinated with the medical examiner. Well, yeah, to me it kind of looks like SF Investigates is really just kind of stirring the pot. He wants answers that obviously we know we're not going to get. So why push it, you know? Sanders said, I agree. SF definitely needs to keep steering. I think they'll be disclosing the matter and it will become public knowledge. Honestly, the police owe us nothing. And you know what, Cindy, I can't disagree with you. I actually agree with you. You're right? Because they really don't have to release anything to us, no matter how invested we are in this case. Master Dead said, I think the LAPD are lying about her not being decapitated because had she been, we read this earlier. They say dismembered, just head still on the torso. That can't work in a coat jacket bag. Then put in a trunk that's small. Have give false details to weed out bad tips and safety reasons. I agree with Master that because she's a minor, that it may be the reason as well. And you know what? Maybe that's the case. But if that means that, they're I have absolutely no doubt though that the LAPD is doing everything that they can, right? Because they did assure us, and I don't know if it was an interview or if there was like a public statement that came out that said the LAPD is going to be looking for accountability, right? They said that somebody is going to be held accountable for this, and I believe them. I definitely believe them, and I understand that, if you guys are following this case and you guys have been going deep down the rabbit hole like I have, you guys understand that every day that comes out, right, or every next day that follows this case just gets more twisted and twisted, right? I want to say as early as a week or two ago, I know there's been a lot of discussions regarding the ties between David and 764. Foxy, welcome. We're just hanging out, Foxy. We're just shooting the shit tonight. It's late. I just wanted to kind of test my it's funny, I was watching Strategic Eyes and he was talking about how he just got the Rodecaster Pro. And I was like, "Oh, I just got one too." So hopefully I can ensure that the sound is upgraded too. Sounds good. Master Death said he's got a top lawyer on this and they're going to nail David on everything. Might take years. You really think it's going to take years? I don't know. I mean, I'm just hoping that this case does actually go to trial, right? And that they do hold the right people accountable. I'm hoping that sorry you guys. Strategic is a G, and shout out to Strategic Eyes because there's no better person to report on all of this stuff than a person who's actually doing this, right? So shout outs to him. And if you guys haven't checked out the documentary that he did, right? He called it a documentary, but he did a really in-depth, thorough review regarding the ties between David and 764. So you guys should check him out. You guys should type a one in the chat if you guys are following Strategic. Type a one because I follow him. David is guilty said, "I don't think it's gonna take years." Foxy says, "Strategic's my favorite dumb comic." I won't tell him you said that. Don't. Okay. No, he's definitely, he's one who's qualified to talk about it. He lives that life. I just watch it, right? But yeah, he put together a really in-depth comparison regarding 764. There's a lot of content creators that are actually talking about it. Mark the Shark, to be honest with you, Mark the Shark did a deep dive on this like 2 weeks ago, right? But yeah, you subscribe. So do I, right? Even though I make content myself, I subscribe to a lot of these content creators. But here, I wanted to, now that I have you guys on, we're hanging out, there's 22 people in here. I wanted to kind of get your thoughts because I've been told to watch these interviews, and actually we'll kind of start off with this one. We'll see how far we get, but somebody told me that I needed to watch the entire interview just because of how good it is. So this is an interview by Mahogany. They've got 957,000 subscribers. And do me a favor, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button for me. Hit that subscribe button for me. It's free. All it does is kind of helps me with the algorithm, right? But anyways, I want to watch this this interview with you guys, and I feel like because this case is kind of slowed down with everything, we're kind of left to go back and reevaluate all of the evidence that we've already kind of gone through. So I think it's worth kind of going back and taking a look at some of the things that we've seen, because every day that kind of goes by, we learn something new, right? We might learn the identity of somebody who's been hiding, right? But yeah, because I know that kind of came out yesterday too. And I don't know if I'm really gonna talk about it here. Maybe I'll save that for another day. Um, but yeah, let's kind of watch this. Oh, what happened? Okay, hold on one second. Let me turn off my Nightbot because Nightbot's being a little shit right now. All right, turn them off. Sorry about that. If you had a message that was deleted, I apologize. You don't have it where we can pay yet? Unfortunately, Foxy, I don't. I'm not a monetized channel. I'm a little micro creator. I'm working on it. I'm really working on it. Unfortunately, I'm not quite there. I need y'all to just kind of support the channel, hang out for a bit, you know? Spend a little bit of time watching some of the videos that we put out because we've deep dived through a lot of stuff, right? I think the last video I did was 5 hours. We did a 5-hour live because we kind of went down the rabbit hole and kind of talked about a lot. But unfortunately, I don't. I do have other ways to support the channel. Let me put that in the chat really quick. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Nightbot is really being a punk biatch. Let me see here. There you go. Those are ways. But if, I mean, I swear, if didn't you donate before? I could have sworn you already donated to the channel. Anyways, let's get into this because I want to see this. I don't know if it's any good, but I've had like 4 people send this to me and told me that I have to watch this. So let's get into it.
This is the breakdown. Mahogany. This is my first YouTube post. Runaway.
No, I want to speed this up.
Don't run away from me. Yeah. Please don't run away from me. Yeah, man. It's Runaway. It's the first song I ever made ever in my life. Pretty weird song. Looking back at it now, it's kind of like an abstract, really abstract kind of piece of music. I don't even know if I would call it music. It's just like a sound. Like where I was when I made it in my little sister's closet as my studio. I remember the first time I went in there and kind of like scoped it around. I was looking at different areas of my house for this new like hobby of mine that my mom told me to do. Basically, background on that, I was a Fortnite
Hey, Cindy, don't pay attention to Nightbot. Nightbot's tripping. I sent him home.
YouTuber for a really long time. Since the game came out in 2017, I really wanted to be a content creator and a streamer and kind of YouTuber, all that kind of stuff. I was making montages on YouTube of like my gameplay, putting music behind it, trying to be like the best Fortnite player. And then my videos got copyright strikes, so I couldn't make money off of it. And I was like, yo, I don't know what to do. I go to my mom, I'm crying. I'm like, yo, mom, I'm not making money no more. I don't know what to do. Da, 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 da. She's like, how about you make your own song? So I'm like, all right, bet, let me do that. So I looked up how to make music on iPhone. This app called BandLab comes up. And then I'm like, all right, bet. So now I got to find a place to use this as my studio. So I go to the kitchen at first, too much echo. I go to my room at first, too much echo. Like there's just like not a place I could find to make music. And my closet isn't a walk-in closet. My closet is like just like one dimensional almost. It's just like room for hangers and nothing else. So I go to my little sister's room. And of course, she got the biggest room in the house because she's the favorite kid.
David is guilty. Speaking of which, right? I came across another page. Let me find it really quick because I found a website, oh, not a website, a channel, right? Definitely giving Baphomet vibes, right? But I found a channel that somebody sent to me, and it's got 885 subs, 45 videos, and it seems like a lot of his music is being posted here. So I don't know if this page is actually like music that he's leaked or other people have leaked for him. But you guys, I don't know. I mean, I'm not one to support this guy, but obviously you can see some of the songs that I checked out. These songs are freaking weird, man. I don't know. I feel like this guy knew what he was doing. He probably put an album together as he was unaliving Celeste, recorded it, and he knew that this time was, or you know what? He could have probably, look, this was released a month ago. So obviously after everything happened, right? So this was literally post discovery of Celeste, right? So it's kind of weird. I just kind of think it's weird. And these songs have like 2,000 plays. This one was released 15 hours ago. I'd play some of it just so you guys can hear it, but to be honest with you, I don't know. But I find it really, really weird that new music is coming out. I don't know how I feel about that. How do you guys feel about that?
So I'm like, all right, bet. Let me use her closet because it's a walk-in closet, and I put up all these clothes. I put like robes and like things like that to kind of insulate the sound. And I spoke into the mic the first time. I was like, oh, okay.
You want to talk about Red Note? What do you want to talk about Red Note, Cindy? You want to see that photo? Let me see if I have it. That one was a weird photo. There's a goofy video of Neo called Don't Judge Neo Langston from 2020. I told myself I wasn't going to say his name on the stream, but I read the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I know, right? For sure. I can't even stand looking at this guy. Makes me sick. Let me see if I have that photo on Red Note. I'm telling you guys, I need to get a new phone and upgrade the storage on here because my phone is literally full of photos archived about this case. It's weird. I'm looking for photos. I'm looking for that one photo from Red Note. What did you notice about that photo, Cindy? Let's see. Thing is, I'd have to find the photo, then send it to my PC. So hang tight, y'all. I'm looking. I mean, I could just go to Red Note and screenshot it. There you go. That's what I'll do. Let's go. No. You're good. You're good. David is guilty. Don't trip. Foxy, everyone's doxing that loser at this point. I do have to say, I do not condone doxing. Doxing is a no-no. Only because, people have died from it. And we had somebody actually from a city right next to me in Glendale, California, back in 2017. And I'm going off of a tangent right here. But I do want to talk about this, right? 2017 doxing incident, Glendale, California. When did this happen? Let's see if this is it right here. Nope, not it. A romantic homicide video. It flashes, see her arm off. That 2 years she died. He planned all of this. I wouldn't listen to it. I personally don't care for anything I've heard. I won't even hate or watch listen. He's not worth it in my opinion. And to be honest, he's in the entertainment business. Of his people going to know his real name. You think people don't know Vanilla Ice's real name was Rob Van Winkle? No, for reals, right? It was just a matter of time before all of it came out. I feel like he was the only person in that group of people whose name was unknown. And because he is an influencer, a public figure, I think whatever came out on the Reddit, they didn't dox him. Foxy says Glendale has fire Armenian food. Yeah, no, shout out to Glendale. They do have a ton of Armenian food. Fire food. I work in Glendale, so can't wait to eat lunch out there. Let's see. What was the doxing accident in Glendale, California? Hold on. I don't know if I type it on. Let's see. Incident 2017. No. Why is it so hard to find? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The guy who I think he lived in Glendale, and then he swatted somebody in like Ohio or one of those states, and police came and they shot the guy because he came out of his house. Oh yeah, for sure, Foxy. No, it was literally just his first and last name that came out, and the internet did what the internet does. And God, did they find a lot out about him. Um, but yeah, that's another video that we'll probably save for later. I know a few people have already done their deep dives on Neo, and Foxy, you and me have kind of spoken offline about this. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it was just a matter of time, um, that information was going to come out. All right, I can't find this, but I do want to get back to this doc or this interview because I do want to see what he has to say. Look at how much this guy needs help.
Hey, this is the studio. So I go on YouTube and I'm like, I need something to kind of practice. This is a song. I never had an intention to put this in a Fortnite montage. I never did put it in a Fortnite montage, but I was like, I need something to practice on and I don't know how to sing. So what do? Essentially, I
Portos.
got a beat off YouTube. I looked up Billie Eilish type beats because I was like heavy into Billie Eilish at
I
the
have a
time. Still
box
am,
of
but I was
Portos waiting
really,
for
really
me at
into Billie
work
Eilish at the time.
tomorrow.
And then I looked at Billie Eilish type beats. This piano ballad thing comes up. I'm like, bet I'm using this. I import it in the band lab. I get the Apple headphones in. I'm like, all right, bet, let's see how to do this. So I didn't even look up no tutorials. I didn't know how to make music. Da, 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 da. I was just like, I'm winging it. So I learned how to use plugins. I learned how to use reverb. I learned how to use EQ. I learned how to use compressors. All in that very night. I stayed in that closet maybe 6 hours that day, bro. It was a long day. I was just in there cooked because like there's no AC up in that closet. I was just in there sweating
Obsidian.
my balls off, bro. So basically, I'm thinking about lyrics. I'm thinking about the most basic thing I could say at the moment, and all I could think of was just saying "run away" a million different times. And then at the end of the day, end of the recording session, I'm like, I kind of hate it. So I
Hold
tried.
on. When was this interview done? I need to know. This was done 7 months ago in March. Okay, so it seems like right around March he was doing a lot of interviews because I remember the Zach Singh video. I think he did that literally a day or two after his birthday, which was a little weird, right? His birthday is March 28th, and in that same video, he does mention that he's no longer his girlfriend is no longer in his life. So it makes me wonder, why isn't she in his life anymore?
I'd figure out ways to kind of modulate my voice and make it sound real different and like, try to, just like mess it up. So I went in this app called DJ, which I used to kind of pitch up and pitch down my voice and kind of, mess with different frequencies and stuff. And I pitched it down like 2.5 semitones. And that's why it sounds so slow and reverb. And I was addicted to like slow and reverb versions of songs back then. So I was like, oh yeah, this is heat. This is the one right here. Instantly, I put it up on SoundCloud. I didn't even have a name on SoundCloud. I think my name on SoundCloud back then was like Huey B or some crazy thing, bro.
Huey
Because
B.
I
Has
had
anybody looked that
a
up?
weird
Huey B. Somebody find that account.
obsession with like the Boondocks, and I named myself Huey from the Boondocks on SoundCloud. I just put it up there randomly, and it got like 2 plays, and I was like, okay, bet nobody knows about it. And I kept working at the craft. I kept working on it, working on it. And then fast forward like a month, I was making maybe like 15-second snippets. So I made one a day. I would enter the closet and just like work on my craft once a day for like an hour and make these 15-second sound bites. And then I would kind of make my transition into doing full songs, and I started, experimenting with different sounds. And I was like, okay, what works for a Fortnite montage? And I kind of moved to like the indie rock kind of sonic identity because I was into like the Neighborhood and Wallows and Claro and bedroom pop rock, soft alt stuff like that. And I stumbled upon this beat on YouTube, which was the beat for Runaway, and that was the second song I ever dropped. And I don't even know. I can't. That day is a blur because that song was such.
No, it wasn't. You're lying. That day was not a blur. You remember exactly what happened, why you wrote the song, who you wrote the song for. You're sitting here lying and shit.
A staple for like my fans, like the OG fans, like that's their favorite song. Like I played it
AKA the people in his Discord, right? Because the people all knew about it.
at shows, bro. The whole crowd goes insane. And like I'm looking back at it now too, like the lyrics in that song are crazy for like the second fully fledged song that I really ever worked
Because it was about a minor.
on after only playing Fortnite and doing poetry as my only hobbies. But I guess that's like the poetry in me, being able to kind of express itself in a different media form for the first time. But then I released You and I, put that in a Fortnite montage. And then it kind of just went crazy in the Fortnite community. I remember going on Twitter one day and being like, I just posted a YouTube link. That's it. And it was like, yo, you can use my song royalty free. Everybody can make money. And then went stupid because nobody had to like get it whitelisted or go through labels to kind of get their video cleared and stuff like that. It was literally just a royalty free song made by a Fortnite kid that everybody was like, okay, bet we're using it now.
It's like trying to keep the
yeah, all of my friends started using it in their videos, and then they caught on to me being an artist. And then the plays on SoundCloud started going up. And then yeah, the rest is like basically history after that. I was really consistent.
All right, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. This interview is moving a little slow for me. I do want to kind of shift our attention to this one right over here. Because this one for me, This one was probably the most telling about all of this. And if I'm not mistaken, he probably did this the same day. Probably put his do-rag on over his hair, right? He's wearing the big old bracelet, so he probably did this interview on the same day. So this was posted on April 28th, which is weird, right? Because his birthday is a month earlier. But somewhere in this video, he does give him a birthday shout out and saying like, "Happy birthday! Your birthday was a couple of days ago, or your birthday's in a few days." Can't remember, but it looks like he's wearing the same thing. So who knows? We sat down with David in March 2025, and this was dang, this one came out almost what 10, 11 days later after the Zach sang.
Especially for like my main fans and even for the new people that's coming in, they can recontextualize my music with the previous project. So it's a good way for everybody to get into it.
By listening it all together.
Exactly.
Wait, so let's go through what that life cycle means.
Obsidian, you're talking about this interview. This one's extra creepy. Totally agree with you.
So wait, at what stage of Withered is dying? So you're going into dust, but you're coming back again. Is that what I'm getting through those 14 records?
It's definitely like a resurrection type of thing. So, but by the end of the project, it's done. So that's why the last track is called Afterlife. That's like the final blow, you know?
How long did it take you to come up with this? Because when you were on our show 2 years ago, you said you had something in the works, but you ended up getting rid of those records?
Yeah, it was like an interesting thing because when I talked to you about that, it was like I had a very clear vision, but then I had lived not that much life, you know? And I went on all these tours, and I went on tour with SZA, and I was meeting this person, and this producer, and that artist, and this and I was just getting, lost in the sauce. And I had to kind of take a few steps back. So the first
What is up with this little shake that he does?
To you about that, it was like I had a very clear vision, but then I had lived not that much life, you know? And I went on all these tours, and I went on tour with SZA, and I was meeting this person, and this producer, and that artist, and this and I was just getting, lost in the sauce.
What a tweaker.
And I had to kind of take a few steps back. So the first couple projects that I made, a couple iterations of Withered, one was like an R&B project, one was like a pop project, and nothing really felt like me. So I kind of had to bring it back with this last one and give it one more shot.
Was it all titled Withered throughout that? Or
Nah, like
see, isn't it weird, right? He had to scrap the project how many different directions because he wasn't satisfied because maybe it just wasn't Celeste, right? Maybe it just didn't depict all the events that took place when she was unalived, allegedly.
there was no felt like me. So I kind of had to bring it back with this last one and give it one more shot.
Was it all titled Withered throughout that? Or
nah, like there was a concept and there was a story there that I want to continue, but there was no name, there was no like theme of the songs, and you know, because I'm writing at this point about myself and my emotions and my vulnerability, and I wasn't doing that a lot last couple projects because I was homeschooled, you know.
Yeah, you were living a different life.
Yeah, I didn't have nothing to talk about like that, and people were asking me, "How'd you write all these beautiful songs when you have no relationship?" I was like, "Man, I'm a prophet, bro. I just spoke into my own life." Like,
I can't stand this guy. What did he say?
Talk about like that, and people were asking me, "How'd you write all these beautiful songs when you have no relationship?" I was like, "Man, I'm a prophet, bro. I just spoke into my own life." Like,
I'm a prophet. Oh God. I wonder how much of a prophet you're gonna be when you're in prison.
You know, crazy.
But okay, happy 20th birthday.
Thank you.
You literally the other day.
Yeah.
Like
so you guys heard that, right? So literally he said happy birthday. You literally just turned 20 the other day.
Like, crazy.
But okay, happy 20th birthday.
Thank you.
You literally the other day.
Yeah.
Like you just turned 20. You're technically out of teen years, but you're still like a kid.
Yeah, literally, man. I'll be going to arcades. I'll be going to Chuck E. Cheese. You know
By the way, rumor has it Chuck E. is actually opening an arcade, like an arcade version of Chuck E. Cheese, like in a mall.
For real?
Yeah, I saw them too.
So I mean, this for me, anyways, this was the interview that kind of put things into context, right? And I'm gonna ask you guys in the chat, right? Because here we kind of talk about the ideas, right? This is a safe place for us to kind of throw our thoughts out there and kind of talk amongst each other and see, when you guys believe it really happened, right? Because there's so many different theories, speculations. Which one do you guys believe in the most, right? Because there's the whole January 2nd theory, there's the whole springtime, but it doesn't really kind of specify like a time frame. So I'm curious when you guys think Celeste was unalived.
Whoa, that's game changing. Actually,
it is game changing.
Wow.
Anywho, back to you. Life is an understatement that has lived in the last 2 years because if I remember correctly, you hadn't even performed live when we first met.
That's insane to think about. Man.
And you've been on 2 headlining tours. You opened for SZA. Like
4 headlines. Actually.
Holy fuck!
Actually,
sorry.
1, 2, 5. Holy balls,
Damn.
5.
But in 2 years.
Yeah.
But you also released, which I think it's really crazy that your fans are so adamant on you having an album. You released 40 singles.
Dude, I'm out there. Definitely out
You're
there. It's so funny because I've been seeing the TikTok like drop. Why don't you drop? And it's like just go to my.
Are you kidding?
I've been dropping, bro.
There's 40 songs.
Yeah.
So, okay, how does life change? Like, how does your daily outlook change from the last time we met? Because even hitting the road and living that life, and definitely like, I don't know. I don't know if you started in vans or I don't think so. I would assume you went right to the
we
bus.
went straight to the bus.
That's sick.
Straight to the bus. God bless. Yeah.
Truly got.
Sydney, I'm telling you, if you haven't, and if we're not able to watch the entire thing, I highly suggest if there's going to be one interview that you watch, it should be this one, because for me, it's the most telling, it's the most disturbing, it's probably the most creepiest one that he's done out of all of them.
God bless.
Absolutely.
Because life is different in the back of a white creeper van, dude.
with the barred window.
Yeah, bro, it is not okay.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Can you explain how your daily outlook and like just the way you perceive life now changes from that experience?
I mean, it's definitely very, very euphoric, and it doesn't feel real to be like, on tour and to have such an ability to travel like that, and to be able to see the fans in face to face in real time and be able to feel that emotion and that connection to them. It's just like you don't believe it, and it's so hard to process that. Like that to me is bigger than getting a viral song. Like you really have people sitting in this room that bought tickets to your show that's really screaming every word. Like that's insane.
Like think about that as like an internet kid,
Right.
like somebody who spends so much time playing video games behind a screen.
Yeah.
Like all these people that they exist in this digital universe now exist
In real life,
Yeah, in
like,
front of
crazy, bro. Like you're supposed to be a comment. Like you're a comment, bro. You're a like. That's crazy. You're really like real. It's so fire. I love them so much. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So cool.
So does it change the way you make art? Yes, obviously. It's how we got to Withered, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like in the process of, getting outside my house and exploring the world and finding friends, finding relationships, losing relationships. It's just everything has kind of been
Notice how he stuttered over that, right?
shaping, exploring the world and finding friends, finding relationships, losing relationships. It's just everything has kind of been shaping and leading up to this project in such a domino effect way.
Like just living life and it
Yeah.
feeling.
This album is my life. Like Withered is my life.
Okay, this is probably the most disturbing part. I'm sorry, you guys. I just have to kind of state it and put it out there. When I heard him say what he just said, man, I literally almost lost my shit.
Pedals to
Like just living life and it
Yeah.
feeling.
this album is my life. Like Withered is my life. Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So where do they align at all?
They do indeed, because like I said, I kind of felt like it was a prophetic thing that I was speaking about heartbreak and love and all these things I had never experienced before. Because
Like just living life and it
Yeah.
feeling.
this album is my life. Like Withered is my life.
This album is my life. Withered is my life. Petal to Thorns was what I wanted my life to be, but Withered is my life. If that comment that he just made is not telling, then fuck, I don't know what is. Right? Look at that look on his face. He's just screaming, I did it.
Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So where do they align at all?
They do indeed, because like I said, I kind of felt like it was a prophetic thing that I was speaking about heartbreak and love and all these things I had never experienced before, but then I actually experienced them. It's like, yo, I really said this about myself 2 years ago.
Is
It's
it,
happening.
but is it what you really expected?
It's weird because I have such a weird view and take on situations like that because I'm always looking for writing material in these types of things. So instead of taking it to the chin and being like, oh my God, like, I'm heartbroken, like I go straight to my phone or band lab, go straight to the studio and write about it. I never actually like fully process situations like that because I'm always expecting it to happen. And then as soon as it happens, I'm writing about it. So
So you're expecting. Let's break that down.
Yeah.
Because I understand, like going immediately to art, like is a means of coping.
yeah, basically, yeah.
But you saying expecting it, meaning like you get into a friendship expecting it to end in a devastating, tragic, sad way, so it can inspire art. But are you manifesting that in a certain
I
degree?
don't know. I hope I'm not. I really hope I'm not because it feels that way.
And fun loving. You know that the whole Millard Canyon Falls is literally in my backyard. Right now the trail is closed. So hopefully, when that trail opens up, and they do say it opens up on December 31st, hopefully we can make our way out there and grab some footage. and really see, because my goal is to really see that rock, see if there's anything left, any remnants of that rock, because I honestly think something happened on January 2nd. I think maybe not everybody is aware, but SF Investigates did tell a content creator that the last proof of life photo was taken on January 2nd, which everybody knows, right? But the one detail that he never publicly mentioned was that last photo was taken at the Angeles National Forest. And that's the one photo that we have not seen yet. So I'm curious, why have we seen 4 other photos, right? Photos that lead up to that day and 2 photos the day after. They have that shed photo and then they have that music video shoot. But yeah, and I have a theory about that camera that got placed there
Like,
too, which
I look back to old songs.
I'll probably talk about it in another video, but sorry you guys. I just ate dinner too, so but yeah, I'm curious. How do you think that camera got back to the mansion, right? How did they leave that camera behind after a search warrant was served on a forced entry warrant? How did the LAPD not pick that up? Did they not find any significance in that camera? Was their warrant limited? And then why did SF Investigates find it? That was so weird to me.
Songs like Life's a Dream and all these songs I wrote in my closet or my sister's closet in 2022 when I'm looking at my life in the past 8 to 9 months, I'm like, whoa. Like, bro, these songs are soundtracking my life. So I hope I'm not involuntarily doing that, but it might be that way. I gotta lie.
Interesting. I gotta say, your family's so cool.
I know, right?
Your mom is the reason you like your mom is amazing.
She's the GOAT, bro.
Like you just
Is the mom the witness who didn't testify with the grand jury?
needed music for your video game videos, and like your mom could have like come up with another solution, but she
Right.
was like, do it yourself. Like who just goes like figure it out?
Shout out to mom. That's my mom.
That's fucking awesome. Like, and then your sister, the
My
closet.
sister too. Yeah.
So what part of this album was actually recorded in that closet? Because it was recorded between LA, right?
Right. LA,
And
London. Most of it
London.
was in London,
That's
and
right.
the other half in Houston on my phone. So probably 50-50. So half in London, 1 song in LA, 2 songs in South Korea and Japan, and then the other half just on my phone.
What
Yeah.
did you do in
I'm gonna tell you right now, he's lying, right? Because in another interview that he did, and I want to say it was not too far apart, he said that he recorded 80-20. So 80% was filmed in the closet, 20% was filmed in the studio. So this guy doesn't even know his own music.
South Korea and Japan?
I was on tour in November last year, right before we were supposed to be like turning in the project, and I wrote "What Are You Waiting For?" and "Where Did It Go Wrong?" Yeah.
Are you inspired by your environment?
Super. I mean, when I was in Tokyo writing "What Are You Waiting For?" it was just like the city moves so fast, and there's so many people. I was smack dab in the middle of Shibuya. Everybody's walking. It felt like I was watching a time lapse, and I needed to like get some energy out of me. And I got sent this beat the morning of, and I was like, "Yo, this is the one." So I just like I'm sitting at the window, just going crazy on Van Lab at the phone, just looking at the environment.
And shout out to David is guilty. Yeah, your photo is hilarious. He's got Tommy with the yellow blindfold or orange blindfold in the orange jumpsuit. Ooh, I can't wait. I can't
letting it
wait.
inspire me. It was so beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, again, like all of it done mostly on your phone.
Do you feel like you make better music on your phone?
Dude, 100%, 100%.
So why even go into a studio environment?
I do it for the producers and the collaborators. I love, just keeping and building a rapport with the people that I work with. And I don't want to, I don't want to become a myth. Like, I don't want to like, oh, that's David. Like, he doesn't ever work with people. He doesn't do sessions. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be, that guy. I want to be.
I don't know, Foxy. You say that he's a mama's boy. I feel like he's a daddy's boy. I feel like, I don't know if you guys have seen those videos of David's dad doing martial arts out in the open. And I feel like the person recording his dad is him as a little kid. Type 1 in the chat if you guys have seen that video.
Personable and come into the studio, be welcomed into places and work with people. But then I also take songs back from the studio and re-record them on Band Lab. So it still gets that nice workflow. But I do prefer working with myself nowadays. Yeah.
So Cindy, that's a great question. Was the camera there when the police were there? Let me see if I can find a photo, right? Because I do want to kind of talk about that. Because that, to me, was a very odd thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can just go to Instagram and find it. Probably be a lot easier to... So I think this is... I don't know if you guys can tell, but he has a camera right here on his neck, right? And this photo was taken on July 31st. Now, we all know, right? We all know that they left for tour on the 29th of July, which is the same day that the Tesla was moved to the last destination for the final time, right? SF Investigates also claims that he knows who moved the car. In fact, he even doubled down on X when he kind of responded to somebody and said, I still know who moved it. But I did find it weird, right? Because here you can see that this is the camera he has. And in fact, I went on and did a little bit of research myself, and I found out, let me see. Let me just find it really quick because I have a tab open here. It's actually this camera right here. This is the actual camera that he has. This is a Canon AZ528. Sorry, not a Canon. It's a Kodak Pix Pro AZ528 Astro camera, right? This is the same photo that he has in here. The only difference is that it's black. Now, what I found very weird is that on July 29th, they go on tour, right? And this tour right here that we're looking at, this tour isn't even on the Withered calendar, right? Or the tour dates. If I'm not mistaken, on July 29th, they took their tour bus and went straight to the Bay Area. Obsidian, yeah, in fact, it is the same camera. It's the Kodak AZ528, and to make matters even more weird, right? I looked up the user manual for this, and you guys see what it says right here? It says that it also has a reflection mode. So, if you guys remember, I'm going to have to go down a bit. When did he post this? Sorry, y'all, give me a second. When he posted this photo, right? This was a photo that everybody was probably wondering, how in the hell did he take this photo? When SF Investigates mentioned that he found all of these photos in the camera. It wasn't a camera phone, right? He found these on a hard or a card that was inside of a camera. So I just tried to figure out like what camera it was that he was using. Turns out that that Kodak camera that I just showed you guys has the capabilities of where is it now? I don't know where it's at. Where did I put it? Has a reflection mode, right? So this photo, where did I put it? Is it this one? This photo of Celeste that was taken in reflection mode that was in downtown LA on Figueroa Street, close to 3rd Street. This was taken with that camera. So December 30th, 2024 at 11:57:57. 3 minutes later, or maybe 4 minutes later, you see him here in downtown LA on Figueroa Street taking a photo of his blade, his switchblade on Figueroa, right? Really weird. So I say this because this camera also holds a photo of Celeste's last proof of life, right? This was taken, I don't remember where this was taken. I think this was taken in another state. And the rumors have debunked that this is not Celeste. In fact, this is somebody totally unrelated. But this is January 8th, almost a week later, right? 11:47 a.m. I think this might be the One More Dance. Is it the One More Dance music video? Not sure. Let's go back, right? I saw some comments right now in the chat that said she looks high. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you that I can't say that she doesn't. I kind of agree with you guys. She does. And in fact, you know what I found really weird about this photo is that she looks so much older than the 13, 14-year-old girl that I've seen in every other photo. It's weird because you can see here that she's got a septum piercing. Some people are debating whether this portion right here on her eye is a strand of hair or she has a tattoo. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I screenshotted this photo and I blew it up, to me, it looked like it was the letter D tattooed on her eye. But none of it's confirmed, right? I had to kind of blow it up and clarify the photo a little bit, but it is really weird. She does look like she might be under the influence here. Um, and it's weird because this is like one of the only photos that we've seen where Celeste kind of has her face just kind of smiling. She has a facial expression. She's not hiding, no mask, no purse. She still has the hoodie, right? Um, but her face is not covered, which is really, really weird because you never really kind of see Celeste. I also had another supporter that kind of reached out and told me that I should look into the symbolism of anime and manga with a double head on a tree. So I'm not gonna kind of get into it too much now, but for those of you guys that are curious, you guys should look up the relevance behind a double-headed figure on a tree for anime and manga. You guys, we all know how obsessed David was with anime and manga. So for him to take a photo like this, it's not so far beyond the realms of capabilities or possibilities, right? T with Tambo, what's going on? Isn't Figueroa the street? The sex workers are on here. Let me also show this to you guys too, because we talked about this in my last live, right? But we'll just kind of bring this up. This might be far reaching, right? But I came across an article. This was on November 7th, right? Now, if you just want to just have a play on words, right? We're talking about the blade on Figueroa, right? What is the blade on Figueroa? In fact, the blade on Figueroa, right? It says here there's a crisis. The crisis is known by many, but truly seen by few, perhaps until now. Sex trafficking in Los Angeles operates in plain sight along a wide stretch of Figueroa Street, otherwise known as the Blade. Drivers looking for sex idle at curbs and roll down windows, while traffickers watch from side streets, directing the girls they've recruited, some as young as 11 to meet nightly quotas. You guys, as young as 11, I feel like this is the topic that we've been talking about for the past like week and a half, right? The whole 764, right? This is it right here. They literally have underage, not even women, right? These are little girls, underage girls who are standing in the middle of the night on Figueroa Street, tricking. They're turning tricks. Master Dad said maybe he was pimping her out. It's weird, I mean, you never know. I remember one of the first things that came out early on was that maybe her sister was, right? Maybe David was. Although the sex trafficking blight of South Central LA is widely known, the inner workings remain a mystery. Actually, I don't want to read this article. I want to read the one from this one right here, because this one was a really good one. No. Oh, come on. Okay, NBC has it. We'll find the one from NBC. Where is it? Oh, look, here's one. This was posted 5 days ago. California. Oh, come on. We're not doing this, are we? .304s. All right, y'all. Sorry, I tried. Maybe there's a... I guess we'll just have to finish this one. Where are we at? Although the sex trafficking blight of South Central LA is widely known, its inner workings remain a mystery to most people. That changed on October 26 when the New York Times national health correspondent Emily Baumgartner Nunn published a sweeping 2.5-year investigation. 2.5 years, you guys. That is insane. That followed 3 women bound by the same fight. The story was a reporter's dream because everything was firsthand. Baumgartner Nunn told KTLA it took years of building trust and getting officers to agree to a ride along. Once I was embedded, I could sit quietly in the back seat watching them work as if I wasn't there. Baumgartner Nunn's piece titled, Can Anyone Rescue the Trafficked Girls of LA's Figueroa Street, follows the three central figures: the sex trafficking survivor, LA police officer determined to rescue underage girls, and Shannon Forsyth, a faith-based advocate fighting to help them rebuild their lives. So you guys, it's crazy, right? Because we talk about 764, we know that there's been FBI cases, people have been indicted and charged for these heinous crimes against children, right? But it's crazy because here in LA, there's a dedicated area where this takes place. And the sad part is this is out in the open. This is out in the open, you guys. What? Like, look at this. Look at this girl. Look, if you see the outfit that this girl is wearing here, does this kind of look familiar, right? Because our poor Celeste Rivas Hernandez, I feel like every photo that we've seen of her, she's in some sort of pajama pants and an oversized sweater with a hoodie on, right? It's sad. It's saddening, right? And it makes you wonder, like, were these girls kidnapped? Did they run away from home? Like, what's going on? I don't know. It's just kind of hard to see, like, how out in the open this is, right? Let me see what y'all are talking about. I believe I'm correct because Nova is always on that street. I tried to Google and couldn't find nothing on double-headed anime characters at a tree. David is guilty. I'll try to find the ones that I was looking for, and I'll probably talk about it one day. I know David was a fan of Tokyo Ghoul, which is gore type anime. Ugh. The pimp's tattoos, women she has David tattoo and one on the face. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, right? I mean, he even has a song about, oh, Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest, right? So he definitely was into branding. And we all know that Celeste was not the only girl with a David tattoo, right? We know that there was another person in the picture, was dating David for a small period of time. That girl was Cassandra Rose. She was the one that had the D4VD tattooed on her forearm. That was pretty gross and disgusting. I cannot stand seeing another related to gore. It makes me hurt and anxious. 100%. There's lots of documentation about Fig and the Blade. No, there definitely is. And you know what? I don't ever plan to go out there. Nope. You ain't gonna catch me dead walking Figueroa. Soft White Underbelly interviews children at work. I feel like I've seen a video or two, but some of this stuff I can't really stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach. Nova is still out there. Was Nova on that Soft White Underbelly? Unfortunately, I know Lady Duck was caught. See, these people are like stars out there, right? Carved on her chest is a 764 reference. That's horrible. And to think that 764 was started by a 15-year-old with autism, right? Tattoos are a form of cutting someone to make art. That's wild, right? Because what is he doing with that blade? I'm really curious to see and understand what the autopsy report looks like. If where she was cut, how many pieces she was in, was she really decapitated, was she ever frozen at some point? These are some of as a nurse, right? As a registered nurse, like these, I mean, I'm not going to say that these are the type of things that I deal with on a daily basis, right? But like the medical aspect of all this stuff is the part that interests me the most, right? The fact that SF Investigates found 3 bottles of opioids at the house. What the fuck? Why is nobody talking about that either, right? Really odd. But the camera. We know that this camera was taken with them on tour on January 29th, as seen in, where's that photo? Is it this photo? As seen here in this photo. We know that a forced entry warrant was served at the Mansion House on the 17th or 18th of September. I can't remember which one. I want to say the 18th, right? When was what date was Celeste's body identified? It was the 17th, right? That's when TMZ got the call from the random tipper. What am I trying to say? September 17th, body was identified. September 18th, the forced entry warrant was served. And then the very same day, that was the day that David transferred the deeds of one of his properties to his mom's name. And then sometime in between the 18th and maybe the 26th, I think, that's when SF Investigates was announced. When was it? Hold on. Let's see. Law and Crime. Jesse. SF Investigates. It was this interview.
Sir, that there's a red test on it.
It was this interview right here. And I think this was the very first interview that SF Investigates did, where he announced that he was hired by the homeowner, Malden Trifunovich, right?
To all this. And TMZ reports that the LAPD has since seized surveillance footage from the same home.
Let's just kind of jump.
But now I want to bring on our special.
So originally,
let's kind of listen to this part too, right?
When the case, when the body was originally found, I had another missing persons case going in LA.
Obsidian, thank you. The 17th, she was identified, and then the warrant was served the next day on the 18th. Thank you.
Email, and we thought that could be that individual, and so I kind of stayed with the case for a little while until she was identified, and we knew it wasn't. And I had, discovered some other things, such as when the car was towed and the photos from it being towed and whatnot. And, the owner had gotten in touch with me of the house, and I shared some things with him, and it just kind of evolved from there. But one thing, I would say is he is the owner of the house. He wasn't David's landlord. David wasn't even on the lease, and the owner never even knew that David was in the house. It was actually Josh Marshall, his manager, who had leased the house.
But to be clear, David was living there, right?
Yes, he was definitely staying there. It's just
and Obsidian, that's what I'm talking about. This whole camera thing is so weird. Who put back the camera? Right? Because if that camera was on tour with David, and I have to be very specific, you guys, not many cameras, right? 'Cause I'm a videographer too, right? Not only am I a nurse, but I'm also a videographer. I do shoot a lot of artists, not like Maximilian and Zerks do, but I do my fair share of shooting artists. I'm traveling back and forth from here to Vegas. I use a ton of different cameras, but never have I used a camera that has a photo setting where you can take a reflective photo. So for it to be in a Kodak camera, my best guess is that it was in that Kodak camera.
Was not known to.
But when did it come back? My question is we don't even know if David returned to California after Celeste's body was identified. We don't know if I think it was his tour in Seattle, may have been his last one, or the Seattle tour was canceled. We don't even know if he ever came back to California or if he went straight to wherever he's hiding, right?
The owner.
Right. Okay. And by the way, I understand this is, an active investigation. There might be limited what you can share, but what exactly is he looking for in this? What exactly is this property owner?
It's very possible that he has multiple of the same camera, but for somebody with that amount of money, right? This Kodak camera is not a very expensive camera. It's a nice point and shoot to take with you, right? But somebody who's constantly making content on the road, you're not shooting your videos that you're posting on the daily with this Kodak camera, right? For one, it only records in 1080p if I'm not mistaken. And with his level of production and stuff, he's filming off like Sony cameras 100%, right? Or these hardcore Canon cameras. Ain't no way he's filming any of the shit that he's putting on his page with this camera. I feel like this was like the sus camera, right? The one that has all the secrets. Now, mind you, let's not forget that SF Investigate said that he found, and I think he's over exaggerating just a little bit, he found thousands of photos. So maybe he found thousands of photos at the house on memory cards, but it also makes me wonder, right? Does anybody remember when the movers came? When did the movers come? I want to say the movers came before Dubs. Shout outs to Dubs. What's up, Dubs? Happy holidays to you too. Thanks for stopping by. Movers came. Movers came and they moved everything out of the house. And then SF Investigates came right after. So, how in the fuck did LAPD leave a camera behind? How did movers come in, take everything out of the house? They forgot the fucking incinerator, right? There was a burn cage that was left there. There was a camera that was left there. Something doesn't make any sense. Like, how is so much stuff just left behind? If movers are supposed to come and do their job and move everything, why are they leaving so much quote unquote evidence behind? Right? Why is LAPD leaving everything behind? Now I get it. Yeah, thousands of photos are definitely normal for a photographer, right? But you're not going to find 1,000 photos in that camera. That's for damn sure, right? You might find them in a couple of memory cards, but not 1,000 photos in that camera. So I'm assuming there's multiple memory cards that were there that they found. And he said that the photo of Celeste on January 2nd came from a camera. So he must have found it in a memory card.
What kind of answers is he looking for?
Go digger.
So where really kind of evolved from was the search warrant was served, I believe, on the 17th or 18th. And it was a forced entry search warrant, meaning that nobody was home at the time. And they did not leave a copy of the warrant or of the return, the inventory list of the items that they took from the house. And it was really kind of born out of that. I was not officially retained at that time, but I helped him try to obtain that. And we told Robbery Homicide, hey, listen, no warrant was left behind. David was out on tour. Josh Marshall lives out of state, we found out. So the owner had his representative go to the house.
T with Tambo, that's a good point. Maybe somebody did. But what's also weird too is that SF Investigates later on in this interview also mentions that there was somebody at the house. Somebody was there. And they know that because the HOA, the Homeowners Association, they had paperwork, right? There was a complaint that was filed that somebody was in the house. Now they have video of it, but it's not clear as to who they could make out. But they did say that they have video of somebody that was there. Now I have two questions that maybe you guys can help answer for me, right? Question number one, was Rob on tour with this group of people when they left on July 29th? Because there's video of the trio, David, Asia, and Neo, on this tour bus, but we do not see Rob, right? So was it Rob that was at home? Also, I need you guys to help me find this information out, right? Because I heard that on this tour, Neo could not travel for the out-of-state tour dates. So all of the concert shows that took place outside of California, he could not attend. So because he wasn't able to attend, he ended up going back home. Now, if I'm not mistaken, home for Neo from time to time was at the 1368 Doheny Mansion. So, is it possible that when Neo could not stay for the tours outside of California that he returned home? Is it possible that David asked him, take the camera with you, leave it at the house? Or did Rob have, I don't know. I'm just curious, right? I don't think Rob would have left the tour because we heard him being grilled by Beth Silverman, right? Why didn't you call the police? It's because he wanted to just continue with the tour. So, and I'm having a hard time thinking that Rob has anything to do with this. I mean, we all know that in the grand jury, they don't question any of the suspects, right? Unless they're really trying to get to the main person and they're trying to build evidence and a testimony against the suspect, then they might be granting immunity, right? Which may not be, far beyond the realms of possibilities. I'm just saying. But I don't know. I'm so stuck between asking those two questions. Was it Rob? Was it Neo? Was it who else could it have been? Who else could it have been? I don't know. I'm very curious to know who you guys think could have moved that Tesla. Now, mind you, they said that the person to move the last time that Tesla was moved, that person was wearing something very distinct, right? And they were wearing the same thing 12 hours prior. So I'm just trying to figure out those questions that I have lurking in my head after doing just some investigating and research. I don't know if SF Investigates is ever going to tell us who moved the Tesla. Maybe he won't, right? Maybe that's something we're just going to have to wait for the courts to divulge. Yeah, Obsidian, let me know. And let me know the size of the storage of your memory card. Master Dad says some of these guys use Polaroids, no trace. Don't have to worry about someone printing them. I'm surprised he used a digital camera that has digital footprint. Yeah, not smart, right? David is guilty. Have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. T with Tambo said, SF said someone in the house when David was on tour earlier in the year. So let's see. I think he talks
found out
about
this, and there was no warrant, no return. Is there really just wants to understand what of his property could have been taken and what the status of that is. And then also, this is troublesome when you learn something like this. All of a sudden, you're thrown into this, and he feels absolutely horrible for Celeste's family. And he's like, if there's anything that involves in and around my house that could help, then I want to discover that. And I'll tell you that there have been things that we've learned and we've turned right over to LAPD, but we think there's significant, things that.
Goldig, good question, right? We don't know where Rob was unless he went separately. Could he have flown out to San Francisco to meet him there? I think that's definitely possible, right? They've got the money for it.
That could help.
Do you mean that there might be evidence that a crime was committed at that house?
Not so much a crime, no. And I'll just be honest with you. We don't have any evidence that anything happened to Celeste at that house, but there's definitely evidence that we've collected that helps the timeline. We now have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing Tesla being moved. So things like that, and I'm not even saying that LAPD didn't have that. I'm sure they did, but we wanted to make sure. And, and we did some work and on the up-resing the footage to find out who was driving the vehicle. And there are some other items that were found at the house that weren't taken during the search warrant. And, search warrants are limited, right? They can't just go take everything. It's what the judge, and we don't know how
delete
broad that
everything
was because we haven't seen it, and that's what we'd like to see. But there were some things that were not taken into custody of LAPD that we think are significant, and including digital media and some other things that really help nail down timeline and things like that.
And you handed that over to LAPD. There's other.
We have the day that we, the things that we've recovered, we've given to LAPD within 24 hours, you know.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, you know, as far as it going to the final, that what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
And that information's been communicated to law enforcement.
So it's been given to law enforcement. They're not going to tell us if they're confirming if that's a person or not. Robbery and homicide, the way they work is we'll take your information.
Come on,
we're not going to speak on it, you know. So I don't know, but listen, it's very clear that that neighborhood is filled with surveillance cameras, and the timelines. Once we learn those dates and we can see other things that were happening that were even public on Instagram and whatnot, or going on in those people's lives, it makes a lot of sense.
So let me ask you this: if you
Holy shit, Obsidian, 2,400 photos. Okay, well, the EOS M50, that's a damn 2,400 photos. They're probably all JPEGs though, huh? None of them are like raw photos. It's a nice camera though. It's a really nice camera. Take care of it. I don't think they make it anymore either. Tea with Tambo. What if Josh Marshall tried to grape Celeste and unalive her? Then all of them helped Josh do what they did. You know what? I mean, at this point, you know, you can't leave anything off of the table right now. There's just so much that we don't know, you know, and sometimes I always ask myself, like, is LA... There's 100% no doubt in my mind that LAPD is in the Reddits. Absolutely 100%. You can't tell me otherwise after the mass shooting at Brown University that police are not in the Reddits. They're seeing everything, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're getting some of the info from the Reddits. Gold Digger said, timeline. Actually, all we got is SF, is what SF gave us. And you know what, Gold Digger, we talked about this the other night, right? When we were on the voice chat on the Discord. And yeah, the only thing that any of the content creators are talking about, besides the deep diving that everybody's been doing on Reddit, the only thing that people are talking about are the things that SF Investigates putting out there, right? Everything. The burn cage, the 4 photos, January 2nd, maybe Santa Barbara, right? But none of us saw that coming. And still till this day, none of us can decode what the hell that means. I've been digging as much as I can. I can't find anything substantial that can explain what the hell Santa Barbara has anything to do with it, right? Not even if you're talking about Coachella. Coachella is so far from Santa Barbara. It's not impossible to get out there, but to go out to Santa Barbara in the middle of the night during Coachella weekend, that's a drive, especially as a performer. But yeah, that is really weird.
You see when the car was parked there, have you seen anything to indicate that Celeste's body was transferred into that car after the car was parked there? Or in other words, do you believe that her body was in that car the minute it was parked in the location it was ultimately towed from?
So I'll say I have no evidence of a body being transferred before or after. There's no evidence of that at all. What I will say, when it was moved to that position, it was already like that. So that car had not been used in a very long time. It was super dirty, caked on dirt. I'll tell you, this was in late July. So it's bizarre because we also...
And mind you, in this interview, SF Investigates does misspeak during this, but you'll hear
that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, you know, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used.
Hold on, let's rewind that. I want to make sure you guys hear that. I want to make sure that you guys are listening to this part right here.
tail shop and stuff like that. Wow, it's bizarre because we also got media that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used. It seems to disappear. And then that red Tesla learned, which we didn't know until the search warrant was served, that there's a red Tesla in the garage, which I can tell you was at least on February 1st.
February 1st, right? So there's just so much that happened between December 30th where we, the public, has seen Celeste's last proof of life, because to us, the public, the last proof of life that we know of is December 30th, right? SF says that he has that photo from January 2nd. And then he says that in between that time, something happened, right? David, we know that his registration expires in January 2025, right? So literally New Year's, that thing is expired.
Yeah, let me just narrow down here. Do you have the precise date of when that car, the one with the Tesla, with Celeste body inside, when it was left there? Do you know the specific date of when it was left in Hollywood Hills?
I believe so. I believe it. July, late July, very late July.
So,
July 29th to be exact.
So one thing that we've heard, and this is something we've talked about, is the LAPD has seized footage from the rental property, multiple security cameras around the property. There are even reports of a smashed Ring camera on the ground.
Yeah.
And according to TMZ, police seized all the footage from multiple security cameras at the house last month when they executed the search warrant.
That's
TMZ
true, Obsidian,
described
because
that
we don't
footage
know,
as a,
right?
quote, potential gold mine for investigators. And the question becomes, did you see anyone coming into or leaving that property after the Tesla was there? So after the Tesla with Celeste body inside is there, can you tell us you saw people coming in and out of that property before let's say this, before the search warrant?
No, not from the time that the Tesla was left. So from the time the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved and literally a bus departed for tour.
Okay. You talked about things that might have been taken from the house, things that you handed over to LAPD. Is there anything you can share with us about what that information may be?
One thing that you just brought up, and I guess what TMZ reported on, the security system. The house has got a very sophisticated security system, not just with cameras, but with sensors and all types of things. It all records to a DVR. And for privacy reasons, the owner, when he leased the house, said, this is the system that's in the house, and you can use whatever functions you want on it. That's not something that then the owner could access. So we don't.
Well, let's go back. What do we see in here? Looks like this is a monitor box, right? For one of his computer monitors. He's got some Amazon boxes, 3-drawer little dresser here. This looks like maybe one of those loudspeakers, a suitcase, ladder. I don't know, is this workout equipment? This looks like one of those row machines, a bike. What is this, the garage? I thought the garage had oh, unless maybe they moved it all out, right? Because they had like that little the arcade stuff in there.
Whatever functions you want on it, that's not something that then the owner could access. So we don't know if the cameras were enabled or not enabled. But if they were, it wouldn't just be cameras. It would be, we'd know anytime anybody came and went from the house, anytime anybody opened a window, everything, if they kept it like it was. But we don't know. LAPD came in and took that whole DVR. They
Gold digger, I might have to rewind that just to make sure.
took the entire system. So we don't know. The house said, this is the system that's in the house. One thing that you just brought up, and I guess what TMZ reported on, the security system. The house has got a very sophisticated, something. They took the entire system, which you would expect. And I've talked to the security. The security guy can see, which is stuff like if there's a major failure. And there was a low power failure warning that triggered right when they were executing the search warrant. And I think that's when
100%.
So there's reason to believe that the system was running, Whether the cameras were covered or not, I don't know. I can tell you that some of the smoke sensors in the house were covered, and that's probably because maybe they were, I don't know what they were doing in the house. So the cameras might have been covered as well.
During the course of your investigation so far, have you learned more information about Celeste and David, perhaps their connection, anything we should be thinking about that hasn't been publicly reported? Is your investigation also into them as well?
Sure. Yeah. And, one of the reasons that we've kind of come public with what I'm doing is because, I have a little bit different method of working than a lot of private investigators and then what people think is the proper way of doing it. I believe in this digital age, and when, especially the younger generation, when they're on places like Discord and you don't even know their real identities, I put myself out there, and those people do come to me, and a tremendous amount of people have come to me, and I've learned a lot. Now, listen, a lot of it's circumstantial, right? But there are people that are.
Okay, hold on. This photo right here, does this photo not make you ask questions? Right? What this tells me is that they're on FaceTime, right? And whatever this is a screenshot of a FaceTime that somebody may have posted to social media. What this tells me is that there is somebody else on the other side of this who is talking to David and Celeste. I want to know who the fuck is on the other side, right? Obviously, it's blurred out. I don't know if that's because it's another minor. Is it somebody who's currently being looked at as a potential suspect, right? But it says, Celeste and David won't let me sleep. Boo fucking who? What you should have done was called the police, right?
Directly in his orbit, and there are people that have photos and videos, and
And I'm still pissed that all the large media outlets are still using this photo because, as we know, this photo has been debunked and it is fake. It is AI.
Gotten a lot of photos and videos from inside the home itself. So you can put people at certain dates and times at the house, and there's a lot of them. It's in the thousands.
Do you know if Celeste was ever at that property?
So, what we recovered, we don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David, we assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera at different locations. And it really makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA. And I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
Okay, now that's significant because we were wondering when, she
No
was
idea.
last
Did I
seen
miss a
alive. There
doll?
was that surveillance footage of her seemingly running away from her neighborhood.
And that was September of 24, I believe. So
Yeah.
we didn't have anything. We were like, where was this girl in 2025? But we do have a photo of her on July 2nd, early in the morning, July 2nd, 2020.
Cindy, thank you for hanging out. I hope you get some rest. It's probably 5 o'clock in the morning where you're at. So please sleep well.
25.
Has anyone, and just to be clear, you don't know more information about when she died, right?
No,
Okay.
I don't have any information of how she died or when exactly she died. Listen, investigations are always moving, and right now I tend to believe it happened a while ago, a long time ago. And I think January, February, things changed. I mean, you can see it in the photos and everything. And I also think when I first started looking at this case, I'm very much an Occam's razor type of person where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online, into these big things. And I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be.
Let me rewind that too, because you said something that was important.
I also think when I first started looking at this case, I'm very much an Occam's razor type of person where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online, into these.
Occam's razor, right? It's not as intricate and complicated as we might think it is. I don't know if I believe that though.
Big things, and I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a.
And SF is the only one running with the OD theory. I don't know if I believe that or not. I feel like drugs may potentially have been used throughout the course of their relationship, but I don't know if that's really the cause of death.
a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla. And then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car. And they were just like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And just got left there. But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff, and that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their time.
And obviously, for those who are in the chat that are living under a rock, what he's referring to is the recent tweet that he put out, which was the burn cage, the incinerator that can burn up to 1600 degrees, which is hotter than a normal incinerator to cremate bodies, which burns 1400 degrees, if I'm not mistaken. He also clarified in that tweet that he put out that there were items that would be used in conjunction with the incinerator. So what was there? What else did he find there? Obsidian, thank you for that. Occam's razor is a problem-solving principle that states the simplest explanation involving the fewest assumptions is usually the best or most likely to be correct. Thank you for that. It's too late for me to look that up, so I really appreciate you looking that up. Well, I mean, I don't know if you looked it up or you just know it by heart, but thank you for that. I appreciate you putting that in the comments.
Timing was just off as far as getting this done, but there's a few things that we're just like, will blow your mind.
Has anyone from David's team, management, legal, anybody reached out to you or your client?
And notice this whole entire interview, because this was the very first one that SF did. Nowhere did he mention that there were farm implements. I think the moment that we learned that there were farm implements was when Nancy Grace actually slipped during her interview with SF Investigates. That's when she said, farm implements.
I know that my client's been in touch with his manager, but only for the purpose of the lease, because they did ask to terminate the lease. And I believe the other manager that technically was the owner of the red Tesla, I think was in touch with him just because they needed access to the house to get that vehicle and stuff out. Because that's another thing that they could be key in this, is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that and who had access to it and who was in it. Because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served.
Is that David or is that Caleb? I don't know. That kind of looks like Caleb to me.
David was on tour, but somebody was in that house, and there was actually, and the search warrant being served. David was on tour, but somebody was in that house, and there
David was on tour, but someone was in that house. So I don't know who could it have been, because he also mentioned in other interviews too that I think, which he later clarified too, was they only had one key to that house. Now, if they only had one key to that, which I don't know, it seems impossible to me. I mean, if Josh Marshall was supposed to be the only one that lived there, at least they give him one key and a spare, right? So I don't know if I really believe that, but he did mention that there was only one key, and then he alluded to maybe whoever moved the car last was the same person that had the key. I don't know.
A report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so
thank you, Tambo.
Who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
Do you know who that person is?
Wait, hold on.
The same person that, had access to the Tesla.
Look at his facial expressions when he says that, because he literally kind of like smirks and then both of his eyebrows raised. And I was trying to make it make sense. Now, let's say Neo did move the car, right? And he went on this tour. Is it possible that he could have had the key? I mean, I feel like if he couldn't stay for that entire California or all the tour dates outside of California, and he came home, he could have very well been the only person with that key, right? Especially if Rob left and flew out to meet him up. David probably could have given him the key to go back home, which could make him still the same person that drove the Tesla to its final destination.
Who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
You see his facial.
Do you know who that
key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
Do you know who that person is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say but I don't know who exactly was in that house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that there's only one key, it's like, okay, who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla?
I could have sworn too, he even put a stupid ass tweet out there that clarified, I didn't say there was only one key. I would never say so. Yes, you did.
Was another last part of the plan about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her body? I don't know.
Now, we heard this week from LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman, and he actually addressed this case directly when a TMZ reporter caught up with him outside the DA's office. And regarding the status of the case, he said, quote, "It is currently under investigation. We don't discuss suspects or the points in a continuing investigation. When and if that case is presented to the DA's office,
That's
and
true.
we make a decision on it, I'll make sure you're one of the first to know. A case has not been presented to our office for filing consideration." And just to underline that, a spokesperson for the DA's office confirmed to Complex that, no case has been presented for filing consideration. The LAPD also told the outlet that the county medical examiner still hasn't determined a cause or manner of death, saying, quote, "It remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body." Now, Steve, you just told us a lot of information here. Are you surprised that we don't have a confirmed suspect from law enforcement or a person of interest or even an arrest at this point? Or can you say, from what you're seeing, that makes sense, but Jesse, maybe be on the lookout for something soon?
Yeah, I would say, Jesse, that makes sense, but maybe look up,
Walmart's
look up for something soon. I've seen this in a lot of cases. It tells me,
Foxy, you can go to Walmart for cheaper keys, okay?
I'm just saying, from my opinion, that this means
Walmart's
that
got the
during
hook.
the examination, the autopsy examination, there was nothing very obvious, such as a crushed skull, bullet holes, anything like that. So they're waiting on toxicology to come back to make that final determination. Now, is the medical examiner in contact with the detectives in between this time? Are they? Absolutely. Do they have a preliminary determination? I'm sure they do. I think the DA's office is working side by side with the detectives and telling them, this is what we need for these charges. This is what we would need for these charges. Can you get it or not get it? Listen, a crime 100% happened here. At minimum, it's the concealment of a body, right? So we know somebody did that. Hopefully it's not, a mutilation. Hopefully those initial reports were wrong about her being dismembered. But one thing I have to say, even though I talked about how we found some things that could have meant they had a really twisted plan in place to get rid of her, it never went in motion. So you can't charge somebody for a crime that they may have thought about doing. So, we may never know more about that.
So
Seriously,
Steve, before
right?
I let you go, do you have any indication about where David is right now?
I don't. I have no idea. And it's kind of bizarre because his group has stayed so silent. What's left of his group, I guess. And I'm not even sure the conversations that the owner did have with his management in breaking that lease. I'm not even 100% sure his management knows at this time where he's at. I think his attorney might be the only one, and his parents.
Steve Fisher, really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for providing a little bit more insight into what's going on right now.
Thanks for having me on.
And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
That was the very first interview that Steve Fisher did. And I wanted to bring that up because I just felt that it was really important to kind of go back and visit. And I think I'm probably going to do a few other lives that are going to go back and review some of the other videos that he's done with Ashley Banfield and some of the ones that he's done with Nancy Grace, because I feel like there's a lot in there that, because it's happened so long ago, that there's a lot in there that we could probably revisit and kind of piece together, because it wasn't until I saw this video that I thought of the whole camera situation, and the person that was in the house. So I think I'm going to come back to these videos, or these interviews at least, and see what else I can kind of pick up. But I need your guys' help. I need you guys to do me a favor. For all of you guys who are out there on the interverse, on the internet, just kind of digging around and looking up stuff. I need you guys to find out what Neo was doing back in California. Where, like, I need his steps traced, because now I can't confirm 100% that I know that he was in California and came back for the tour, but this was something that I either saw or read, and I can't remember where it was, and I'm so mad that I didn't screenshot it or keep record of it. T with Tambo said, "I don't know about this burn cage." What is it that you don't know about, Tambo? You don't think there was any? You don't think there was a need for it, or it holds no significance? I don't know. Maybe SF is really just trying to throw it out there to make it seem like it was important. I don't know. But again, everything that we've been talking about, as of late, has come from SF fairly recently. And we're going to talk about SF Investigates very, very soon. So I want you guys to hold on to that. And shout out to SF Investigates if you're in here. What's going on? Let's see. Aunt Nancy be hitting that Franzia hardcore, right? You guys want to check out a Nancy Grace one? The very first one that she did? Let's see. Nancy Grace D4VD. D4VD. 2 months ago. Tesla key card. Is this the very first one that she did? Nine days ago. Nothing new. I think this was the very first one. Let's see.
Breaking news tonight. D4VD.
September 30th.
Breaking news tonight.
This was... When was this? No. Okay, so let's see. I'm curious if she has one sooner than that. I mean, older. No, we'll watch this one.
Tonight, the singer David Anthony Burke, known as David, it looks like D4VD, has...
Master Death, you know what? That's one of the only videos that I really don't have of David. If you have it, send it to me. I did finally get your email that you sent me today, so I'm glad that you were able to figure out what it was. There's 3 videos. If you have them, I need them. I need the one where David says that his phone was getting dismembered. I need whatever documentation there is of his dad getting a new phone. I think there's screenshots of his dad leaving is it a Yelp review in June of him buying a new phone and complimenting the person that he bought the phone from. And then there's another video of Asia out there when she was talking about how her phone got stolen. So I'm very curious why the hell all of these people randomly got their phones stolen, or why they needed to buy new phones. And I get it, people want to upgrade, but I just find it so funny this little short span of time that they're all getting new phones, right? But if you have it, let me know.
Fled his $20,000 a month home,
Tesla.
breaking a very expensive lease. Why? Why run out and flee your home in the middle of the night?
I don't know.
Are you
Nancy.
concerned about what forensic evidence is found in the home, or does it hold bad memories? This is a blood-soaked video emerges after a teen girl, just 13 years old when she goes missing, Celeste, is found dead in the trunk of his Tesla. LAPD. Why no arrest? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
I'm sorry, y'all. I thought I was tripping. I could have sworn I heard whispering going on in my headphones.
Why his Tesla? LAPD. Why no arrest? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I'm going to thank you
Somebody's
for being
definitely
with us.
whispering.
Approached the Tesla. How could somebody put their mind? You can alibi people. You can unalibi other people that you're looking at as a suspect. It changes everything. And in the
Obsidian, you heard that too? Okay, cool. I thought I was going crazy for a second. Oh my God. I thought there was somebody in my studio. Like, what?
last hours, a video has emerged potentially placing this little girl, just 13 years old, when she goes missing, at a David D4VD concert in Maryland on August 24. Significance. Very quickly, Dave Mack joining me, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Dave Mack, when was Celeste's body found in David Burke's Tesla trunk?
She was found on September the 8th.
And it had been sitting out on the street in posh Hollywood Hills for weeks that we know of. So that gives me a timeline. That's what I'm getting at. And this will be very significant when we have Dr. Kendall Crowns, renowned medical examiner, explain the degree of decomp in this little girl's body. So if she is alive, if this is in fact her in the video, August 24, and then we've got September 7, that gives me a timeline. Let's take a look at the video right now.
I just had to play the sound effect just because of this comment, Foxy. Nancy be looking more and more like Jack Nicholson Joker every day.
This video has been circulating. Video from @Clips of David on TikTok. Now, isn't it true? Melissa McCarty joining me, investigative reporter, host of the Killer Genes podcast, author of The Making of a Crime Reporter. Melissa, thank you for being with us. Isn't it true that Celeste's body was found in a black tube top and ripped jeans? Isn't that true, Melissa?
She was about 75 miles away from where she was living with her family in Lake Elsinore in the Hollywood Hills.
Now, I'm going to come back to you on that, Melissa, because I don't think she was living with her family anymore. She was at one time, and then she goes missing. And according to neighbors that we have heard about tonight, she had been living with this grown man.
Sorry, you guys. I want to find the one with SF Investigates because these are the ones that have a lot of gold in it.
Got it.
Hold
So
on.
you're saying May 20.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm
manager
sorry.
who
But I'm not going to lie. I have two sound effects that I can't wait to play when they finally catch them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Really can't wait till that day happens.
who got in touch with you? The guy that owns the house?
The actual owner of the house, him and his wife.
Okay. You claim, Steve Fisher, that you know when the car, David Anthony Burke's car, was parked there. That's important to me because I believe her body, Celeste's body, the little girl's body, was already in the vehicle when it was parked.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it was too. It was, I'll tell you, it was July 29th, and it was midday, mid-morning, or I should say. And I do know, who it was that moved
Tambo, leave us men alone. Come on.
it right now. We're not saying who that is.
You
but
showed
I'll
up.
tell you,
Welcome.
It's not far. The area they moved it.
Okay, put him up.
It wasn't far.
Put him up.
I love it when she does this. I'm sorry. I just love it when she's being a total biatch.
Hey, Fisher, have you heard the phrase word salad? It's like
yes.
all the words jumbled up together. You might bite an onion or a tomato.
Tomato?
I don't know what you just said. Okay, I know who hired you. I've gotten that far with you. Listen, I'm a JD, not a DDS. But you give me a set of pliers, and I think I could pull your tooth. You've told me who hired you. You told me why you were hired. You were on another missing persons case. You amassed information from that neighborhood. You put it out there. Somebody saw that and hired you on this case. All right.
Yeah.
You're not hired by D4VD, a.k.a. David. You're not hired by the guy that leased the house. I got that far with you. Let's back it up to right there. Repeat, you claim that you have amassed camera, video camera evidence from the neighborhood. And that having looked at that, you've pieced together a timeline. And you know when Burke's Tesla with a dead body in it, I think, was first parked in the neighborhood. When was it first parked in the neighborhood?
It moved to that last spot on July 29th at about 11 something in the morning. And I'll tell you, it was in the same shape that we saw it in those tow photos where it was completely dirty and trashed. I could tell that they had run the windshield wiper once just so they could see out of it. And they had rolled the window down to move it, even though they're moving about a block and a half.
Now, let's take a look at this Tesla, right? Because we can see here that it's probably collected a lot of pollen, maybe fucking dirt. I don't know. Looks like maybe some rain spots on it. You can see the spoiler here has a whole bunch of tape, and we've recently learned that the Tesla spoiler on these Model X's, they don't really stay together so well. So they had to, I guess they had to tape them up because that was the only thing they could do. And then look at this huge dent. There's a huge dent. I don't know if they hit somebody with it. Now, I'll be honest with you. I thought to myself, like, could they have accidentally hit her with the car? Or did they purposely run her over? I mean, because this car wasn't like that, forever. I feel like this was recent.
But it was in that condition still, so it had not been used in a long time. They had clearly been just moving it around.
Guilty. Naruto said guilty.
To Randy Kessler, veteran trial lawyer, joining us at the Atlanta.
Look at this. Look at this. Who takes care of their Tesla like this? And right up here, you guys can see that the expiration date on the registration expires 1/25. So when this photo was taken, registration was already expired.
Jurisdiction, Emory Law professor.
Terry Carpenter, welcome.
Former chair of the ABA, American Bar Association Family Law Section, and author of Divorce, Protect Yourself, Your Kids, Your Future. Randy, have you ever had to have a witness, and it could be your witness, declared a hostile witness on the stand?
I was just thinking about this question today, too.
And I hate doing that. I don't mind doing it to the other side's witness. I do that all the time. But with my own witness, if I can't get an answer out of them, you ask the judge, I'd like the witness to be declared a hostile witness. What does that mean? I can then cross-examine my own witness. Have you ever done that with your own witness?
Yeah, you mean like you were just doing a Steve Fisher? Absolutely. It's sort of fun, right?
Yes, exactly.
When you're direct examining, you're limited. You can only ask open-ended questions. Why did this happen? What happened? But on cross, if you can treat your own witness, the one that you know what they're going to say, as hostile, it's wonderful because then you can say, isn't it true? And then we get to testify in essence, right? You get to testify and say, didn't this happen? Didn't it go like this? Isn't this what happened? Because you know the facts you want to get into evidence.
That was a yes-no answer, Kessler. I appreciate all that. But have you ever had your own witness declared as a hostile witness?
Yes.
Native
Amazing.
girl, welcome. How you doing?
Okay, you do that when the witness is refusing to answer your questions. You think you knew what they were going to do when they get on the stand, and then surprise, they don't. Okay, that in mind, back to private investigator Steve Fisher. I did manage to get some information out of you that I didn't know. That being July 29, 11 a.m., Burke's Tesla was moved to its last location. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, I just have to put this comment up there. I don't believe SF. He seems to be putting things out there that cops would have not left behind if it was relevant to the case. Farm tools, camera, incinerator. Is he planting them there? You know what? I think the consensus that I have come to during this chat tonight is that SF's got some explaining to do.
You know where it was parked before that?
That I don't know, because from the house that it was taken from is a little bit down the hill, but on the same street.
Foxy, you make a really great point, right? His car was registered in Texas, so he didn't have the Cali plate, so he couldn't do it out here. In some states, they do require you to renew your registration in person. So if that's the case where you have to have a yearly physical inspection, he knew damn well he wasn't going to pass with that.
That the rental house is on.
Okay, so you're telling me the Tesla that held Celeste's decomposing body was ultimately left on the same street where he was living?
It looked like it was coming from the rental house. I can't say for sure, but there's only a few houses on that street because that's like an off street. And it came down that road and was turning onto where you go up the Bluebird there, where it was left.
Okay. Are you telling me, I'm having to interpret everything you're saying, Steve. You're talking private investigator talk. Are you telling me on a video, you can see the Tesla coming from the direction of his house?
Yeah, so the road is curved, and so the house that captured that is kind of at the base of the curve. So you can't see, you can see it coming down the road. You can't see exactly where it started, and you can't see the driveway of the rental house. It stops right before that. The camera angle does.
Wow. Okay. Joining me right now, don't move, Steve Fisher. Do not move an inch. PR guru to celebrities like D4VD, David Anthony Burke, Rob Shooter joining us, host of Naughty But Nice podcast, author of an upcoming novel. It started with a whisper. Excellent title. And you can find it at robshooter.substack.com. Okay, Shooter. I'm going to go into this in depth later, but other celebrities have actually gone on social media and said, wow, I want Burke D4VD's downloads. In this case, a dead body in your trunk can really hurt your reputation. So what do you make of how D4VD, David Anthony Burke, is going to get out of the fact that Fisher just dropped like a bomb? He's got video of the Tesla coming around the curve from the direction of Burke's house, his mansion.
Oh,
and it's got
Foxy,
the
you
body
make me
in
crack
it. And he's
up.
watched the video. He never sees the body or anything else being put in or taken out of the car. Hence, the body was already in the car and it's coming around from Burke's house. What are you going to do with that, PR guru?
Yeah, Nancy, the
Fluff it
only thing
up
you can
and put it
do.
on the front of
The only
Vogue?
thing you can do.
The only thing you can do in these situations, if you are innocent, is tell the truth. Lawyers hate that. Lawyers hate it when publicists get involved. But here, they're not just fighting for their legal future, but also their professional, their reputation. And so we would encourage them, if they were innocent, to tell their side of the story, to get that out now. So it's very, very tricky here. You have to sit with your client. You have to have a really serious conversation. And they have to basically tell you, are they innocent? Are they guilty? And if they are innocent, then he's got an amazing story to tell. Everything here looks really bad for him. However, if this is all some terrible, crazy misunderstanding, this is an amazing story. And so if he can tell that, then he'll be okay. But once again, he has to be innocent.
I had to hear your whole spiel before I jumped in. Some, quote, terrible misunderstanding.
Gold Digger, you brought up a really good point too, and that's something that we haven't really discussed here on our channel, is this whole Build-A-Bear certificate. Something about this Build-A-Bear certificate doesn't sit well with me. I've spoken to a lot of people too, and it seems like our suspect, our person we want to call a suspect, right? That guy had a really big thing for Build-A-Bears. Now, I can tell you that the Build-A-Bear that he probably bought for Esmeralda wasn't the first one, right? I can tell you he bought Build-A-Bears for all of them. I can't say much about it now, but trust.
Control room, can you show me a photo of this little girl, Celeste? Okay, she's dead and dismembered and decomposing in his trunk, and you just call that a terrible misunderstanding in his trunk. And
I want to go back to this photo too, right? Because this live stream on in January of 2024. Now, this was taken in January 2024, right? If I'm not mistaken, she was reported missing for the first time in February, right? But this photo right here, her face looks very thin. You can see that her cheeks are sunken in. Now, if you guys have seen this video before, you can see all the tardive dyskinesia going through her body, right? The lip smacking that she's doing. It makes me really wonder if she was under the influence in this video too. I feel like, wait, oh, the Build-A-Bear? Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. We'll talk about that soon. We'll talk about it. I gotta wait for it though. I gotta let the powers that be give me permission. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. But this photo right here, this to me just screams rolling balls, right? Like somebody get them a Vicks inhaler, a bottle of water. Exactly, Foxy, rolling balls, right? Yeah, it kind of doesn't look like Celeste, but you know, after that photo from December 30th, you know, looking how thin her face was, this is 100% Celeste.
Okay, she's dead and dismembered and decomposing in his trunk, and you just call that a terrible misunderstanding?
What I called a terrible misunderstanding is him being blamed for this. That's what is the terrible misunderstanding here, if indeed he is innocent. This young girl who is dead, who is decomposing in the back of a fancy Tesla, that is not a terrible misunderstanding. That is an absolute disgrace, and we've got to get to the bottom of it. But we haven't got there yet, Nancy. And so maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that he didn't do it, and if he didn't, he should tell us everything right now.
You know, Rob Shooter, you can really hurt your crotch when you're riding the fence that way. Okay, just be careful of that. Katie Forrester joining me right now, Assistive Exclusives Editor, U.S. Sun. Let's follow up on Shooter's terrible misunderstanding comment. A rapid fire, Katie. A, thank you for being with us tonight. And B, did D4VD, David Anthony Burke, ever report his Tesla missing?
That is the main thing that I found very interesting. And also not just the Tesla, but, you know, if he was in a relationship with Celeste and he hadn't heard from her in months, weeks, you know, obviously she was a teen runaway, but he never reported that either.
I don't know if I can trust somebody with
you know, if you
an English
were this
accent
close
talking
to this
about
girl,
this.
whether she was a friend, whether she was a partner, you think that he would be shouting from the rooftops, you know, where is she? And also, yes, say the car as well.
Foxy is
you did hear
on
me
it
say
today.
lightning round, right? Lightning, right? Okay. Yes, no. Did he ever report his Tesla missing?
Absolutely not.
No, absolutely
Okay. Did
not.
he ever report Celeste missing?
Absolutely not.
So, you know, back to you, Shooter. Suddenly she's gone and he doesn't report her missing or his Tesla missing. How do you, again, fluff that up and make it all glossy for the front of what? In Touch, the Inquirer, what? How do you fix that?
She has a history of running away. This is somebody who left many relationships, many lives, and so.
Foxy, you think they're gonna let him keep his nail polish?
You
know they're gonna love it in there, right?
A troubled person, and that is not blaming the victim here, Nancy, at all, but this is somebody who has a history of making erratic decisions. That's how it is going to be presented. It's going to be presented like he was her mentor, that he was looking out for her, and one day he got up and she disappeared, and as upset as he was about that, he didn't think this was that.
Do we ever find out who that was in the background? Is that one of her keepers? Her supervisors?
Usual. It's a very tricky argument. I'm not saying it's going to work, but that's what they're going to do. That's how they're going to position it.
And that is why all the stars hire Rob Shooter as their PR guru. Okay, back to Steve Fisher. Fisher, I didn't forget about you. Steve Fisher is
Tampon boy.
a very high-profile private investigator who is investigating another missing persons case and somehow landed in the middle of the Celeste investigation. So far, I've gotten out of you tonight that the Tesla, ultimately with Celeste's body in it, was moved to the last location, July 29, 11 a.m., in a trash condition, like it had been out in the elements, driving through the desert or mud bugging, right?
Yeah, it is in horrible condition. Same condition that you see it in the photos.
You also told me that you saw video of the car coming around the curve
Robin, yeah.
from the direction
It's
of
crazy.
Burke's mansion and parking. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What day did you see that?
July. It was on July 29th.
Steve Fisher, did you see any camera video of any nature that showed the Tesla parked in that area prior to July 29?
I have seen the images that I obtained from the Department of Transportation on the day it was ticketed and towed, which was September 5th. And then I have.
So Naruto, I kind of want to touch on that, right? The burn cage. I think that burn cage has been sitting at the mansion for months and months. In my humble opinion, I believe that burn cage may have been ordered early part of the year, is my assumption. I think that it was ordered closer to the beginning of January 2025, and the goal, right, was for them to use it on her. And the fact that on January 7th, when the Santa Ana winds came and knocked the shit out of LA and started the Eaton fires and the Palisades fires, that his plans to evaporate her, as SF would say, they were messed up. And he had to find an alternative solution, and he probably couldn't think of one, right? Not in the way that he wanted to, not one that would completely evaporate her. And so that kind of sat on the shelf for a while. I do, however, think that she was stored in some sort of freezer, especially if her body was dismembered. But how fucking cruel is that? For, they say to stab somebody, it's really personal when you stab somebody, for you to take a sharp object and stick it into somebody. For one, right? And then for the other part is to completely dismember somebody. That is a whole other level of gruesome. It's morbid, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm left speechless when I think about this, because it's so horrible that they're thinking that, obviously he had help before, during, and after. So that means not only one person helped dismember her, but there was another sick ass bastard that decided, I'm going to help. And that's a part that makes it hard for me to kind of stomach too, because like, what did she do to deserve that? Right. And the fact, and I feel, I said this once before, and then I heard Strategic Eyes say this as well. And, I'm going to say it again. What sucks so much is that the fact that maybe he didn't, right? I'm not going to say that because obviously we don't know, right? But the fact that she was killed, and the fact that they put her in the trunk, they did it because they knew that nobody was looking for her. So he had all the time in the world, which is why he probably stored her in the trunk or the front of that Tesla, because he knew he had time. But this time he was wrong.
Seen a video that shows it in May of 2025, very clean, but actually parked on that Bluebird Street, that one where it was ultimately towed from, but it was clean at that time.
Could you give me those dates again, please? The dates that you observed the car parked on that street. Go ahead.
First
So where is his house? His house. Okay, this is 1368. This is his house right here. And up this street right here, if you make a left and then you make a right here, not right here is where the car was at, but the car was actually right here on this sidewalk, right here on Bluebird Avenue.
time I've seen it parked was May of 2025. There's a video of it parked on Bluebird, which is the same street that it was ultimately towed from. And then the other imagery I have is from the Department of Transportation, which are those images you're showing now that I obtained when they towed it, just to document the towing. And then there I do have one from earlier in January where the car is parked in front of the rental house. It shows that it's very clean, but does have that rear damage already, the large dent in the back of the car.
Okay, got it. So you're saying May 2025 is the earliest you can place the car on the street in that neighborhood. But to you, Katie Forrester, when did Celeste drop off the map? When was the last time she was actually seen by someone?
So it's actually quite hard to tell, but she went missing a year prior. And then as far as I know, because I spoke to family, she did come back 2 or 3 times, but we think that she was missing from her family home for at least 6 months before she was found dead. So yeah, quite a long time.
Dave Mack, we have shown over and over the photo of Celeste, this little teen girl, age 13, at a concert in the Friend and Family.
Yashoda, you're right? She ran away frequently, but as far as we know, the first missing poster came up after she had met this guy. Way after, right? She actually was at his house in January 2024 during that live stream. And then on February 14th, a couple days later, that's when her family decided to file the missing persons report. So it makes me wonder, had she had ran away, right? Because let's take it word for word. She was reported as a missing person on February 14th of 2024. That doesn't mean that she had ran away on that day, right? So she could have left. She could have been at his house starting 2023. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know if that video that they have, that surveillance video footage they have of her running away by the little convenience store, was the actual first time she had ran away, but I don't think that was the very first time she ran away, though.
Family area. If we could pull up that video, please. As I recall, that was August the 4th. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Dead on. That was in August in Maryland.
This from
Thank you, Daylight.
David on TikTok. Hi, guys. The Fed has...
No. We're not doing no ads. No, Nancy. No.
Wages are bar 100.
We're a small channel.
And
And do me a favor, while she's doing her ad, all I'm going to ask you guys is do me a favor and hit that like button. We were just doing a test today, and a few of you guys decided to come in and hang out, so I decided to make it some time to spend with you guys. So I do appreciate you guys taking the time, even though the video said a test. So do me a favor, hit that like button. I'm a micro channel, so I'm trying to compete with all the top dogs here. Not really compete, but I'm just trying to, get my name out there as well. So do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell notification so you guys can be notified anytime I come on, especially if it's midnight,
Celeste's body was found in a black tube top and ripped jeans. You could smell August the 4th at the D4VD David Burke concert. So I'm trying to narrow down the timeline, Fisher. That's what I'm doing here. Now, I'd like to understand, you saw a person emerge from the Tesla. I assume that was July 29 at 11 a.m. You saw a person get out of the Tesla.
No, I didn't see them get out of the Tesla. They drove by when they drove by the camera in the Tesla, I could tell who it was, but then they're too far out of range, when they hit the parking spot. So I can identify the person from when they drove within 4 or 5 feet of the camera.
Wow, that's even much better.
Wait, hold
So
on.
you're telling me
Did you guys
it's not
hear
the
that
person
part?
getting in or out of the
Hold on. You guys hear that part?
Tesla. It's better.
When they drove
I know, Foxy. It's almost 3 a.m., huh? What a short test run we did.
within 4 or 5 feet of the camera.
So this is the very first time that I'm hearing this, and I don't know why I didn't catch this, but he's saying he didn't actually see the person get out of the Tesla. He saw them as, I'm assuming he's saying, or he's insinuating that he saw from the house camera or whatever footage, he saw the person who was driving it to the last spot.
Drove by in
July 29 at 11 a.m. You saw a person get out of the Tesla.
No, I didn't see them get out of the Tesla.
So he said no, he did not see someone getting out of the Tesla. I'm so confused, SF.
drove by in, when they drove by the camera in the Tesla, I could tell who it was, but then they're too far out of range, when they hit the parking spot. So I can identify the person from when they drove within 4 or 5 feet of the camera.
Wow, that's even much better. So you're telling me it's not the person getting in or out of the Tesla. They drive by a cam, and that's July 29, correct?
Correct.
And you get a face shot. Is that correct?
A face shot, and because the Tesla is so, has so many windows, the upper body, and they're wearing something very distinctive.
So
see, this is the first time that and I don't know how I missed this, but this is the very first time that I recall hearing that he didn't even see the person get out of the car. So he saw this person through the window, and you know what? These people probably got really nice cameras, so I'm sure he knows, right? But the fact that he didn't see the person get out of the car, he just saw them drive by 4 or 5 feet away from the camera. Okay.
Ask you this, Steve Fisher. Are you familiar with all of the people that work with and for Burke?
And you know what? You showed it that very first thing that you said, right? Let him say that to the jury. And I'm just, I'm thinking about it, like with all the mishaps, the misspeaking that he's done. If the grand jury questions him, or even if the jury questions it, right? Or sorry, when he goes to trial and he's being questioned by the lawyers or anything, like he's gonna lose his credibility fast. How do we know it was parked in its final spot that day then, right? I mean, that's gonna be a question that they're gonna ask. And he's gonna have to debate it. And I guarantee you that when this goes to trial, if he goes up and is a witness, they're gonna take him. I don't know. They're probably gonna try to take him down. I don't know.
You know what they look like?
I do now. I didn't, at that time, but the main players I certainly become very familiar with. There's a lot of photos of them. We came into a lot of media of them that was left at the house.
Steve Fisher,
A lot of media that was left at the house, which is which he didn't mention in the last interview that he did with Jesse Weber.
Bulge, who was driving the Tesla, ostensibly with Celeste's body in the trunk.
Sorry,
well, I'll tell you, I would like to. I'll be honest with you, but by statute, I cannot unless I have my client's permission. That's just something a regulation that I'm bound by. And right now, they want to give LAPD a little bit more time. If it was up to me, I would put it out there because it's been 7 weeks, and I don't understand why at least the concealment charge can't be dropped by this time, and you can always stack charges on top of that. So I don't agree with it. I would put it out if it was up to me.
You mentioned you got a clear picture of the driver's face. Was the window rolled down?
It was rolled down, and they were only going a block and a half. It was 77 degrees, and the car, if it was parked in front of the rental house, it was in the shade. So I don't understand why they'd have the window down like that.
And obviously, to Dr. Kendall Crowns joining us, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, the host of a new podcast, Mayhem in the Morgue. He is an esteemed lecturer at the Burnett School of Medicine at TCU. Dr. Kendall Crowns,
Tesla.
By that point, with a decomposing body in the car, in the trunk, the front, the Tesla has a trunk in the front. I think I know why they roll down the window, Dr. Crowns.
Yeah, so there's going to be marked decomposition. The body's in the trunk or the frunk or whatever you call the thing from sometime in July to all the way in December. So there's going to be green discoloration, bloating of the body, purging of fluids or fluids coming out of the mouth and other orifices. It's going to be attracting insects. I'm sure the frunk isn't completely sealed, and that's going to create even more decomposition. So there's going to be a lot of odors emitting from that vehicle.
I find it very difficult to believe, Randy Kessler, veteran defense attorney, that whoever was driving that Tesla that Fisher won't divulge could not smell the overwhelming odor of decomposition. And yet they just left the car there.
I agree, but they could also say, it's California, it's beautiful, I want to put the windows down. There are alternate explanations, which defense lawyers will, of course,
Tesla.
use.
Here you're seeing a demonstration by Scott Eicher. He did for us.
Somebody needs to clip that for me and send me that soundbite. Tesla. And then the other one that says, put him back on, put him back on.
With his daughter, who is about the same height and weight of Celeste. Yet, the person who dropped the car off, Steve Fisher, clearly able to smell the decomposition of...
Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, this is a Model Y that that person took photos in. So this is a little bit smaller than the Model X. This is 4.5 cubic centimeters, and the other one was 6.5. But still, you can see how small this one is. The frunk in the Model X isn't that much bigger.
Little Celeste in the front just left the car there. But yet you won't divulge who it was.
I think we're getting very...
Now, I'm bringing this up because I have a coworker that just recently bought a Tesla, and he's shown me the frunk, and I'm not going to lie, when he popped the frunk, I asked him if I can sit in it, just because of this case. But if you drive a Tesla and you open your frunk, right at the top of the hood here, it matches, like, obviously the imprint right here. And when you close that Tesla is weather sealed. And they say that, nothing's supposed to go in and nothing can come out. So I'm curious if the weather sealing from the Tesla did anything to slow down decomp.
Very close. I'm hoping they want to give, my client wants to give LAPD a little bit more time, and I have to go by that. If it was up to, I'm very much a person where I put information out there and to try and get people to get nervous and make statements and stuff. So if it was up to me, it would be out there. It's just not my decision 100%, but I
well, Steve, let me ask you another question. I understand you're not telling me. Fine. Steve,
yeah.
Have Celeste's family called you, or has D4VD, David Burke, called you and said, who parked the car with her body in it? Who? Have they called and asked?
No, nobody has. And I'm kind of surprised by that. I would love to talk to Celeste's family about this. And even the person that, listen, I've gotten 0 calls from anybody on David's side or left side.
Randy Kessler joining us, defense attorney out of Atlanta. Randy Kessler, wouldn't he call Steve Fisher and go, you got that video? Who was driving my car with Celeste's body in it? Tell me.
So we talked about this too, right, Yashoda? From July 29th to September 8th, that is 41 days for a body to be sitting in the car. And then for TMZ to come out and say the body was frozen. 41 fucking days to have a body sitting in that frunk from July 29th to September 8th. That's wild.
Don't you think he would want to know?
I think it's the exact opposite of what Rob Shooter told you.
T, is that true, Tambo? It was reported that there was no insect infestation. So it really makes me wonder, right? If there was no signs of insects during decomposition and her body was severely decomposed, was her body stored frozen at one point, and then when she was placed in the Tesla, she was left to like fully decompose? because 41 days in the front could probably speed up decomp really quick, or maybe it slows it down. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Which is, tell your innocence, try to figure it out if you're innocent. Lawyers are telling him, don't do anything. Make them prove their case. Whatever the situation is, even if you care about this girl and you love her and you want to make sure.
What case? What make the LAPD prove what case?
The potential case that they're going to prove, or they're going to indict, or they're going to charge, or they're going to arrest David, or they're going to try to make it seem that he's anything this entertainer says or anything anyone on his behalf says is going to be used against him. Right now, he's in a world of trouble, reputation-wise, maybe freedom-wise. I think he's doing what he's supposed to do, which is just not say.
Kessler, I find that very misleading.
What's misleading?
I find it misleading.
Oh, how many times have you heard a lawyer say, I don't care how innocent you are, you don't say a word because saying something might make it worse than it is right now. Right now, they don't have enough to prosecute him.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about this. He didn't have to do it. He could have his lawyer do it. That's not going to come into evidence. You cannot put Fisher up on the stand and say, what did the lawyer say to you? That's hearsay, and there's no exception.
I don't want any more interaction.
So why not have his lawyer call and say, hey, who was driving?
That's actually a question that I had too, Yashoda, is that if her body was frozen, right? And I think you may have answered this before in a lives that we probably did like a couple weeks ago. If the body was frozen and it thawed out, the decomposition phase would have like jump started and like kicked into overdrive, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Driving his car.
Because it creates a conversation, it creates innuendo, it creates implications, it creates connection.
I love your Hail Mary. Did you play football? Because he absolutely can have his lawyer call and say, who was driving my car?
Why?
That would not come into...
Key piece, right? Again, that second body that was discovered on the 9th, I think? Or was it discovered on the 8th? No, her Celeste body was discovered on the 8th, and then the very next day another car was brought to a tow yard. Car was burned. They opened the actual trunk, and that's when they found another body. And the crazy part is that an arrest was made for that very specific, that particular case. And that let me see, I have it here. Let me see. It was on November. Oh no, right here. It was on October 2nd when an arrest was made. And the reason why I remember that so fast is because I remember I put up a post on on Reddit saying that an arrest for the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case had been made. And my post got taken down within like 10 minutes because they quickly corrected it and said that the arrest that they made had no connection with the Celeste Rivas case. So it was just kind of weird. But yeah, that case was completely weird, and I can't help but wonder if there was any correlation or any relation.
Evidence, unless David said it himself.
Why? Why even start the conversation? Why not wait until they're going to come out and they're going to say,
I can tell you this much. If my husband was decomposing in somebody's trunk, I would be jumping on their chest until I found out who drove the car there.
Right.
I
unless
care.
You were under suspicion. But if you were under suspicion and possibly going to be charged with crime, I would tell you not to do it.
Because I guarantee you, I'm not going to kill him.
Well, nobody's going to tell Nancy Grace not to talk.
You're talking crazy talk right now. I got to have a shrink. Dr. Delatorre with me, Dr. John Delatorre.
Did she say she needs a drink?
Psychologist, mediator,
Foxy, I thought you told me that I had to take a shot.
Specializing in forensic psychology. Dr. Delatorre, did you just hear?
Oh, hell no. Hold on. I just seen on my alert. We had a 0.8 magnitude earthquake here in Pasadena. I hope we don't have another one. Sorry, y'all.
Everything that Rob Shooter and Randy Kessler said, all the big misunderstanding, the little problem of the dead girl decomposing and dismembered, I'd like to add, in a bag, a trash bag, in a trunk. Shooter called that a little misunderstanding that Burt should explain away since he's obviously innocent. And you heard Kessler say,
I love it though.
why
Nancy
should he
cracks me
call
up.
and inquire about who may have done this?
Yeah, I think those are the perspectives of professionals who are trained to act in a certain arena based on the court of public opinion or the court of law. But no one is talking about Celeste. She was 13 years old. I don't like this idea that she's declared a teen runaway. There's clearly something going on with her. She's 13 years old when all of this stuff is happening. She could have been convinced that all of this was her decisions, but no one is talking about what was going on in that house. Why was she there? Why weren't any of David's friends saying, hey, this girl's way too young. We need to put her back with her parents. And now she was left to rot, literally to rot. That's what she was left to do, because that's how little all of these people thought about her.
The Tesla owned by Burke had been his daily driver for a long time, regularly getting the car cleaned inside and out. However, when the Tesla was towed, it was dirty with body damage. P.I. Fisher says it looked like the car had been off-road in the desert without wheel wells, beat up, and a huge dent in the back. While his former daily drive sits dirty by the curb for weeks, Burke keeps a clean red Tesla in the garage.
Reminder, D4VD, aka David Anthony Burke, is innocent. He hasn't been charged with anything. American homeowners, the FBI has been warning.
No, we're not doing that.
And history.
All right, she's doing her ad. I'm gonna do my ad too. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Report 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts to fix it. Please don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. You've been working your whole life and putting money into your home. Don't lose the equity. That's HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Nancy, or just use the link below, and good luck. There is a dead body in there 150 feet away from his house. This is a car containing his girlfriend's allegedly dead, dismembered body.
Bloody remains are found in a vehicle registered to you. Yet you continue on this world tour like nothing was found in your car.
And speaking of the world tour that David Anthony Burke, aka D4VD David, embarked upon, to Steve Fisher, the private investigator who has amassed home security surveillance, ring camera, you name it, and has identified the last time the Tesla was moved with Celeste's body in it, we believe, was July 29 around 11 a.m. He also clearly saw the face.
Hey, shout out to Kelly Hopkins. Is it Hopkins? Shout out to Kelly Hopkins for subscribing to the channel. Just got a notification. Thank you.
Of the driver, which he is not divulging. Let me ask you about the timeline, Steve Fisher. How long was the Tesla parked on the street?
Tesla.
For the last time before Burke left for his tour?
From the time it was moved to that last spot, which is on Bluebird. So on July 29th, when I saw it, that was like 11 in the morning. Later that evening, they begin the tour, and they actually leave that evening for San Francisco for the first show.
So apparently, Steve Fisher, in that neighborhood, when you leave, it's a pretty nice neighborhood. The mansions are worth millions of dollars. When you leave a filthy, disgusting car, or any car parked on the street in front of one of those houses, that homeowner gets very irritated to have a nasty car or a junk car sitting in front of their lot, right? Their multi-million-dollar mansion. So you can't leave a car abandoned for very long, or it's going to get towed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I talked to the person who actually called it in, and that's exactly why it's not so much how long it was left there, it's the condition it was left in, and they felt it was abandoned because of the body damage and it was accumulating dirt. If the car had been clean, it probably would not have been called in, but they felt that it was abandoned, and that's when they called Department of Transportation.
So what do you make of that, Randy Kessler, that the very night that Burke is leaving on a world tour, they just have to move that car one last time to just put off for maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days before it gets reported in front of somebody's yard and gets towed. Just one last time before he leaves
I think that is a little bit of circumstantial evidence, and you are not going to get a conviction based on that. But it helps the prosecution a little tiny bit.
Okay, so you may agree that it is circumstantial evidence that the state could use. That's what I
everything's
took from the takeaway from what you
everything's
just said.
circumstantial evidence. Yes.
Okay, everything is not circumstantial evidence, but I got what I wanted. I want to move forward with that thought. The fact of the coincidence that he leaves for tour that night and the car is moved one last time, pushing forward the eventual towing. Straight back out to special guest joining us, Katie Forrester, with exclusives, editor at the U.S. Sun. Jump in, Katie.
Well, I think it's interesting that you can't drag a body down the street. So, I mean, we are waiting for the cause of death, and that's going to be the main thing.
Send me that link,
I think
key
that's going
piece.
to switch this investigation. Was she strangled? Was it accidental? You know, I think things are going to really shift when that comes out.
Steve Fisher, I find it very...
This photo bothered me. Not because of the way she looks here, but because of the photo of when they were at the Fonda, when they did those 2 or 3 shows back to back, and there was a photo of Celeste in her gray hoodie, and you couldn't really determine if it was her. But then after seeing this photo, and then seeing that photo where she had her hair literally looking the same, there was no doubt in my mind that that was her. Not only that, and I'll just kind of show you the photo that I'm talking about because I have it up right here. Hold on, it's right here somewhere. Where is it? Is it this link right here? Okay, right here. Sorry, we're kind of jumping the gun. This photo right here. Maybe there's another one. These photos right here where you see her here, and then, let me just take off this comment. And then you see her here. After seeing that, there was no doubt in my mind that this was the same person. Why do I believe that? Because, where is that photo at? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? No. Oh, right here. The reason why I'm there's no doubt in my mind is because obviously she's backstage, right? But she's also backstage in the same exact area that she was at for day one, right here. So why wouldn't she be back there with her keepers? Bella Bowman, Lane Cooperstein. Then we got Robert Morgenroth from Mogul Vision, Darkroom Mogul Vision. Crazy. Pisses me off sometimes, man.
Very difficult to believe that in a home with this, a home that costs this much and has outdoor cameras, that there were not interior cameras like nanny cams. Did you see any?
The house has a really sophisticated security system, including cameras inside, but the owner left it up to the person who leased the house to what they enable or not. And I know that LAPD has taken the cameras and the DVR system, but on the smoke detectors in the house, they were covered. So I don't know if they had also covered the cameras, and LAPD is not informing us what may or may not be on the cameras or if they were even enabled.
You know, another issue that has just happened, straight back out to Rob Shooter, PR guru. Upcoming novel, It Started With a Whisper
100%
on
Foxy.
Amazon. Host of Naughty But Nice podcast.
But is that
and you
good
can
or
find
bad?
it at robshooter.substack.com. Shooter, in the last days,
Aww.
D4VD, David, a.k.a. David Anthony Burke, has had all of the bloody shirt merchandise.
And I can't help but look at this photo right here of the
all of the
black tarp
shirt.
Right? Could they have used this tarp to wrap her up and put her in the Tesla?
Merchandise pulled. You can't get it anymore. You remember when Kanye, I'm afraid to say his name, it may conjure him up, had shirts with swastikas on them. Remember that? PR nightmare.
I do remember it. Mm-hmm.
And now this. What took them so, who is helping this guy, for Pete's sake? What took them so long to pull the bloody shirts? Now there's a rumor online, not true, that he had mixed Celeste's blood in the paint to make those shirts. That's ghoulish, not true. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's awful. This should have been removed immediately. But we have to remember here, he is not a superstar. This is somebody who's pretty early on in their career. They probably
All right, that's where I'm gonna have to stop him here, right? The fact that they downplay how big he was as an artist blows my fucking mind. Not many artists out there have a song that has been played 1 billion times, let alone to have 2 hits to hit 1 billion. Although he wasn't massive to us older people who may have not been very fond of his music, this guy was massive with the younger crowd. There's no doubt about it. Look at the audience that he attracted, the people he was talking to. Again, Yashoda said it, right? He was big enough to go on a world tour. So the fact that they downplay how mega he was, it pisses me off. Like, I don't condone any of the stuff that happened to Celeste, nor any other potential victims. But this guy was a massive star, right? He had almost, I think now on Instagram, he had like 2 million followers. I don't know. Downplaying it's ridiculous to me.
don't have the very best people around them yet. I've worked with a lot of celebrities, and when they start out in their careers, they don't have the people, the top-notch people on their teams yet, primarily because they can't afford them, they don't have access to them. So his career was still in the beginning phases here, so whoever's advising him probably isn't that experienced, but this should have been removed immediately. It wasn't. Eventually they fixed that. I think ultimately they did the right thing, but it took them way too long.
Reminder, D4VD, aka David Anthony Burke, is innocent. He hasn't been charged with anything. This little girl, just 13 years old, when she goes missing here, now we are learning that there were farm implements found in Burke's mansion that were left there, were not seized by police, things that you would normally expect to find in someone's home. What are they? We don't know yet. Joining me, as I said, an all-star panel, Dr. Kendall Crowns. We also understand, is this right, Katie Forrester, that the drains were searched in the home? That's the bathtub drains, the sink drains for blood evidence?
Yes, and there were photographs of them leaving the house with a computer, with other bits of evidence, but I think it was only on one day. It seemed very swift.
Which was September 18th.
I don't know whether they managed to get a lot.
You know, Dr. Kendall Crowns,
So when it comes to the forced search warrant, we do know that they were there for roughly around 12 hours. Now, depending on who you ask, that could be a short warrant that they served. To some, that's more than enough time. But during that search warrant, we know that they sprayed luminol all over the house, and luminol is a substance that you spray on surfaces, and when you shine a special light, it illuminates and turns blue. That would indicate the presence of blood. And we do know that they sprayed luminol pretty much up and down that house and even down the drains to see if there was blood, right? But which reminds me, right, for them to go into a house and spray a whole house with luminol, there has to be an indication or a reason why they're doing it, right? Which means that when they obtained their search warrant, there was enough proof or evidence to get the warrant to allow them to go into the house and spray luminol. So there was definitely a suspicion of maybe a bloody massacre, right? And I mean, we kind of later on learned that when, the LAPD mentioned that she was dismembered.
would have thought that that type of investigation would take a lot longer when you are breaking down the sinks and the drains and bathtubs, bathroom sinks, kitchen sinks, utility sinks, laundry room sinks, that would take a while. We know, we were told anyway, that the drains were searched. How does that happen, Dr. Crowns?
So they can disassemble the bathroom sinks, as you were saying, or the kitchen sinks, pulling out the piping. And then they can pull out the drain plugs in the bathtubs or showers and look down in them with flashlights and things of that nature. Usually good investigators can be very efficient and quick at doing these things, so it probably didn't take them a lot of time.
Okay, I don't know about you, Dr. Crowns, but I would like to go to a scene and just sit there and drink it in before I started searching. It would take me a very long time to process a scene, even in my own mind, much less for evidence. But if you say so. Rob Shooter joining us.
I'll check it out, Key.
PR guru to the stars, author of It Started With a Whisper on Amazon. Shooter, that's the last thing you need, or to have CSI taking the drains out
Key, if you sent me a link, I don't think it went through. I didn't receive it yet.
of your bathtub. That's not a good look. But that said, between the drains being searched, this video being amassed, you still don't think David Burke should say anything? Not even, I'm so sorry that Celeste has gone on to heaven. I miss her. Nothing?
Absolutely, yes. Every publicist that works with a star that gets in trouble wants them to sit down and tell their side of the story. However, lawyers really get involved here and say, absolutely not. There's always a fight within the celebrity circle between the lawyers and the publicists. I think absolutely there should be a statement. There should be an interview. If you're innocent, you're going to want to tell your side of the story. However, you also, too, want to make sure anything you say doesn't get used against you. And so lawyers are going to be telling him not to do anything. At the moment, they're going to let the evidence speak, and that's certainly painting a really, really bad story. And so we also have to remember too, Nancy, friends of mine who own Teslas, they're some of the most sophisticated cars in the world. They have computers within those cars which tell you precisely where that car has been over the last several months. So it's not just inside the house, it's what's happening in the computer of that car that's going to really tie this case together.
Which we've later on found out that LAPD, law enforcement, they've been able to kind of track this whole case down to a minute to minute basis, right? So they've been able to kind of connect the dots and kind of pull everything together. I'm just curious to see, if anything's going to happen. Are we going to get more? Are we going to find out some stuff? And then who put that comment in there? Daylight. Memory card found, not camera, which is a good point, because in the last interview that we saw, or I think maybe it might have been earlier on in this one, SF Investigates kind of backtracked again. And then he said we found a lot of media items. So, yeah, I don't know. Did he find a camera? Did he find memory cards? I'm confused.
If that USB is still, if the stick is still in the car, it can be taken out, which is a big question to me. The Tesla, the sophistication of their security in the Tesla is amazing, but that USB stick can be taken out that records all of that. So many unanswered questions, but I also understand, and is this a good look or a bad look? Let me go to Dr. John De La Torre. The funeral for little Celeste went down, and for all intents and purposes, we have not heard a word that Burke showed up at the funeral. I find that very odd, since he had been living with the little girl.
I find it odd too. I think there are many people who would say, well, you can't show up for various reasons. But I think ultimately, if you really had, right, if David really had her best interest, Celeste's best interest in his heart, I think he would have shown up. I think he would have taken the opportunity to be in front of the family, to say, I was really trying to mentor her. I understood that she had all these problems. I really had her best interest. So I think that there's a lot of other things that are compelling him not to do it, as opposed to just the altruistic aspect, which I don't think actually existed anyway.
What else are we learning tonight? Katie Forrester, we are learning that D4VD Burke has hired a high-profile defense attorney. His name is Blair Burke. He represented Harvey Weinstein, Lindsay Lohan, Kanye West, Mel Gibson, Britney Spears. So that's in the works. A rumor flooded the internet that he had been arrested. There was even a fake mugshot. That's not true. That did not happen. As of right now, David Anthony Burke is presumed innocent. He hasn't been charged with anything. This investigation could go any number of ways. We don't know how Celeste died. We know that she was dismembered, but how did she die? That is the key to this case. And to you, Dr. Kendall Crowns, will we ever know how she died?
Well, it depends. If the toxicology comes back and is negative for drugs, they may have findings that they found at autopsy that they're not wanting to disclose yet because there's still an ongoing investigation. It probably wasn't something obvious like a gunshot wound to the head or a stab wound to the chest. Maybe something more subtle like a strangulation that they couldn't fully interpret just from the decompositional findings, but they're waiting on seeing what the toxicology show. But I'm sure they have something that they probably have in mind, but they're just waiting until they have all the results back before they pull the trigger.
Randy Kessler, high-profile defense attorney out of Atlanta jurisdiction, you have worked with Blair Burke before. What's her deal? She ain't
She's
cheap,
wonderful.
I know that much.
She is the go-to person. She is discreet. She's private. And she is who you want to get, and you just hope she has time for you when you call her. She will handle this case, and I think that's why you're not hearing anything from he's not a suspect, he's not a person of interest, but from the person that we are sort of talking about that maybe will be accused. So far, so good. Why say anything and snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? Right now, there's been no charges, no arrest. She's going to keep it that way.
Reminder, D4VD, a.k.a. David Anthony Burke, is innocent. He hasn't been charged with anything. The investigation into the death of little girl Celeste is ongoing. If you know or think you know anything about what happened to Celeste, please dial 213-486-6890. Repeat, 213-486-6890. We remember American hero Sergeant Leonard Davis, New York City PD, killed in the line of duty after 21 years, leaving behind a distraught and devastated brother, Anthony. American hero, Sergeant Leonard Davis. Thank you to our guests, but especially to you for being with us. Nancy Gray signing off for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, good night, friend.
All right, let's check out the burn cage one.
Who was hired by the owner of the property where David had reportedly been staying.
This is 415 key. Let's see. Law and Crimes video burn cage found at David's 415. I'm curious, do we see? Oh, behind him. Okay. Let's go back. So this one right here. Huh. You're talking about this little mouse pad right here, Key? That's a great question. I mean, I can tell you for sure, because I've done a deep dive on all of, not all, but a lot of his clothing. And I'm going to do a live on that too. Just kind of review some of the clothing that he wears and what it symbolizes. And this was a picture that I was looking at earlier because this, I don't think is David. I believe this is his brother Caleb. So why they put a photo of his brother in here, I have no idea why. I can tell you from the deep dives that I've done, and trust me, I'm diving so deep into this. Like you guys might, watch your Trapmore Rosses and stuff, and you guys might think that he's doing an exceptional job with his research. But I'm going to tell you guys now, he's got to get it from somewhere, right? And I'll tell you right now, I'm digging really deep into this. So we're going to talk about some stuff that you're not going to hear anywhere else because of how deep I've dug into this case. But yeah, soon, you'll probably hear some stuff that you ain't going to hear anywhere else. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. But yeah, soon enough, we'll be able to put together something. I am working on putting a video together about a comparison between him and Lucas Magnotta, which is that guy from Don't F with Cats. Working on that. I'm working on putting together. I don't know if I want to do a pre-record or just do a live. I feel like I have more fun doing the lives than a pre-recorded video. But yeah, we're gonna do one on his clothing, specifically his clothing choices at like Coachella and stuff, and the secret meanings behind that. Yeah, it looks like there's a pentagram on that keypad or that mouse pad, like right around here. All these weird symbols here too. We'll definitely check those out. What do I want to show you? I wanted to show you guys something. Let me show you one video I found. Let me send it to myself first because let me see. I gotta send it from my phone to my PC. Master Death, yeah, I received your email, and you did send a lot of attachments to it, so I haven't gone through every single one of them, but I did go through a few of them, and I do like them. So I'm probably gonna have to do a whole separate live on that. But I do thank you for finally sending it over because now I can actually see it. Let's name this David Money. All right, let me pull this video up really quick. Foxy says there's no pentacles or pentagrams on there. What's the difference? The pentagrams are just as stars, and then the pentacles are the ones inside the circle? I'm just breaking that. I'm using my medical terminology to try to break it down, and it's not working, Foxy. Plus, it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the Richard guy's hallmark. Oh, Richard Ramirez. Oh, you know what? I was just talking about that. Richard Ramirez. I was just talking about that with some friends last night. I want to do a video on that too because that one's crazy. Let me see. Did it go through? Let's see. In other news, our friend Neo, we all know who Neo is now. That was something that kind of came out last night or yesterday, the day before. Oh, it's not going to work. Yeah, I got to figure out how. And it's weird because when I stream, I use a PC, and my entire life I've never actually used a PC. I've always used a Mac. And so when I screen record or download videos from my iPhone and then I try to send it over, the videos don't work. So I got to fix that. let's see. Let's see if I have some that I can show you guys here. Let me show you. Let me see if this video will work. Hold on 1 second. Let me add a media source here. And then I will play. Trying to find a video for you guys. It's a Neo video. This one's gonna be funny. I'm sure you guys have already seen this one already. Can you guys hear it? Okay, hold on.
y'all hear that people
like, where is it? I'm just going to put this video here. Will this work?
y'all hear that people are trying to say that we look alike?
What you mean?
I mean, like Asians, the population. People say that we all look alike.
I mean, we kind of do look alike.
How the fuck are you gonna say that we look alike? We look nothing alike.
I mean, like, he's not wrong. Most Asians tend to have black hair. Asians also tend to be shorter, and Asians on average have smaller.
Whoa. I'm gonna stop you there.
I'm just saying.
Tambo, go back where? Where are we going back to? Where?
Asians on average got a lot of similar stuff.
How are you gonna say that as an Asian, bruh?
Bro, why are you so mad? It doesn't even matter anyways. So what if we all look alike? We don't have anything in common.
Bro, it does matter. How do you let some people say some racist shit like that?
I mean, we say shit about white people all the time, and that's racist.
Oh, these symbols right here. Here. I can't zoom in on it. I'll let you take your screenshot or something. Whatever you need to do, Tambo. Make it quick. Put on one in the chat when you're done. Damn, it's crazy. Let me know in the chat what time it is wherever you guys are at and where you guys are at. I want to know where y'all are at. Yashoda, you're in Japan, right? We got Japan in the house. 6:41 on the East Coast. Wow. So you're getting your day started. I still got to take a nap so I can go to work. $6:41 in Michigan, Foxy 3:41 in Daylight, UK. Oh, you're just getting your day started. Damn, I'm about to end my night. All right, Tambo, you got yours. 8:41 at night. Oh, lucky you. Lucky you. Okay, Foxy, don't rub it in, okay? You lucky teacher. You got a teacher schedule. Damn, January 5th, though? That's a long vacation. Yeah, Master Dad, send it to me so I can review it. Shout out to the teachers. Oh, my. There you go. Sorry, don't mean to wake y'all up if y'all are, if it's late. Shout out to all the teachers out there. Yeah, man, it must be hard. I mean, I'm a teacher myself, and Foxy, I'm curious, what's the age range of students you teach? Because just like you, I am sure you are teaching these children, these so-called future David fans. F them kids. F them kids. All done? Thank you, Tambo. Appreciate you.
Where David had
Okay,
reported.
let's finish this. Let's finish this humiliation ritual. Oops.
Yo, y'all hear that people are trying to say that we look alike?
What you mean?
I mean, like Asians, the population. People say that we all look alike.
I mean, we kind of do look alike.
How the fuck are you gonna say that we look alike? We look nothing alike.
I mean, like, he's not wrong. Most Asians tend to have black hair. Asians also tend to be shorter, and Asians on average have smaller
Whoa,
teeth.
whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm gonna stop you there.
I'm just saying Asians on average got a lot of similar stuff.
How are you gonna say that as an Asian, bruh?
Bro, why are you so mad? It doesn't even matter anyways. So what if we...
This is Itami right here, right? He's in the David verse too.
We all look alike. We don't have anything in common.
Bruh, it does matter. How you let some people say some racist shit like that?
I mean, we say shit about white people all the time, and that's racist.
Shut up, Liam. Go back to whatever games you're doing. Fuck.
You're the one that's freaking out. Go back to making beats or whatever you waste your time on.
What do you mean wasting time? I'm making this shit into a career. You're the one trying to study to become a doctor or whatever.
Actually, a scientist dipshit. I was studying to become a paleontologist.
Master Death, I got your email. Thank
But I'm
you.
making some trash beats that aren't going anywhere.
Bro, what you talking about? I'm gonna make millions. I'm gonna make beats for like Drake, Travis Scott. Plus, it's better than whatever Liam's doing.
Yeah, Liam, what you playing? Fortnite?
For your information, the thing that I waste my time on, I make thousands of dollars a month on. I'm about to sign with a major esports organization, and I paid for both of your McDonald's meals. Also, Steven, you're the last person to talk about stereotypes. You're the least Asian out of all of us. So shut up before I slap you with my Asian-ass hands.
Okay.
Do you guys want Panda Express?
Alright, I'll drive.
Okay. Oh, don't want to get copy struck for that. While we're on the topic, as of yesterday, let me just find the Reddit post too. Actually, I don't want to pull up the Reddit. But there's a Reddit post that basically reads, the individual known as Neo the Asian has been identified. For several months, one of the recurring questions in this case has been the real identity of the individual known online as Neo. We can confirm that the person previously referred to as Neo is Neo, I'm not going to say his last name, who has always used the public online handles Neo IHY for Neo I Hate You and Neo the Asian. Neo has spoken publicly in the past, was known as a Twitch streamer, and was publicly associated with David as both a close friend and professional collaborator. This information is being shared to clarify the identity and reduce ongoing misinformation. And I think the reason that that was put out was because at one point there was someone or a name that was thrown out there, and I want to say it was Theodore, who Neo was being mistaken for, or who was being mistaken for Neo, and that person was being harassed. At this time, no allegations of criminal wrongdoing are being made at this time. So, Yashoda, is Neo Korean? Actually, no, he's not. What we've learned through the Reddits is that Neo is actually half white and half Asian. I don't know what Asian, but if I were to make an assumption, I would say Chinese. But what we did learn last night is that Neo is a childhood actor. And Neo has actually starred in a movie called, get this, Are You Great for S? It says, Are You Great for S is a boundary-pushing, raw, and sophisticated SUL love story told from a uniquely fresh woman's point of view, directed by Cynthia Shung. And I think that's how you actually say it, Cynthia Shung. And based on a true story, the movie wrestles with a central question. What is the meaning of great S? Is it just a primal instinctual act, or is there something deeper that a great SUL connection, whatever? Cynthia Shung is Neo's mother. What we've learned is that she's a film teacher and director who teaches film. Yeah. His father, his name is Jeffrey. Not going to say his last name. What else? Father lives in Austin, Texas. Mom lives out here in Los Angeles. She's a teacher at a very prestigious university. And yeah, that was something that was uncovered the other night. This was in 2002, so Neo was a kid. So yes, also here, let me see. Actually, I don't want to go to his profile because I don't want to out him. Anyways, you guys can look for yourself. This is the profile or the name of the movie that he was in. But yeah, not the one I teach at. She makes Foxy. Yeah, not at the very prestigious school that Foxy teaches at, but a different one. Yeah, definitely a different one, huh? What else? Any questions you guys have about this case that I could probably try to answer for you? Obviously, I'm not an insider, nor am I an investigator, nor do I have any relationships or ties to anybody in this case. I am just a person who, since the day I heard about this case, has wanted justice for Celeste. And just like many other creators here, we're probably not going to stop talking about it. We're not going to stop asking questions until we find answers. Shout out to everybody who has contributed to answering questions about this, because there have been so many people online. There are a ton of people on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And I really have to give a shout out to everybody out there on the Reddits, because the people on the Reddits are doing God's work. And there's a few people here in the chat that are doing God's work too, because y'all have provided me some gold in the past too for these shows. And it's been, it's been really cool to have an opportunity to come out here and talk to you guys about this. Master Death, I did receive 3 emails that you sent me, the ones that you just sent me right now. So I did receive them. I do have to review the other 2 that you sent me. So 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the other 3 that you sent me. So I'll definitely check it out. Any questions that I could try to answer for you guys, or anything that you guys need clarification on? Obviously, I'm no historian on this case. I'm just somebody who has just taken a keen interest in finding and getting justice for Celeste. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that are in here that probably follow all the other creators too. So shout out to them for all of the hard work that they're putting out there. I don't think Obsidian's in here anymore. Actually, let me pull up a document, because Obsidian was here in the chat earlier. And, thank you. Foxy, was that you? Thank you for your $3 donation. It's crazy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh, Cindy sent one too? Oh, shout out to Cindy from South Florida. Ah, damn. Thank you for your $20 donation. I appreciate it. And Foxy, thank you for your $3 donation. Oh, y'all make me so happy. I can go buy me a coffee tomorrow. But I want to kind of review this real quick before I call it a morning, right? Not going to call it a night. We're going to call it a morning. But this, shout out to Obsidian. She was here in the chat for a long time, actually, tonight. So shout out to Obsidian for completing this. This is a document that Obsidian completed for Strategic Eyes, a true crime with Strategic Eyes. If you guys haven't been to his channel, make sure you guys check him out. But Obsidian put together this very, very detailed spreadsheet on all the cases in LA that have gone through the medical examiner from June 1st all the way down to September 23rd, which we'll talk about. And I think she put that post up maybe today or yesterday or the day before. And basically, the latest updates that we do have is that I want to say maybe about 95% of the cases that took place between June 1st and September 23rd now have either a cause of death already listed. So right here, you can see all of the people here have cause of death noted. So intracranial hemorrhage, blunt trauma, acute intoxication, fentanyl, and methamphetamines. So pretty much you can see everything here that's highlighted in dark colors do have a cause of death already noted. However, when we scroll all the way down to September 8th and we get to case 14252, that is our dear Celeste. And she's right here in the dark colors. And unfortunately, since, when was it? November 5th? Her case has gone completely silent. Her case has been sealed. And unfortunately, right now, case is no longer displayed as of November 21st at 10:54 a.m. Pacific. So I know that Obsidian, has been keeping up with this and constantly checking to see if anything will change. Yeah, you showed it. That's right. We won't be able to see it because the court order obviously has it sealed. But I wanted to show you guys this because of all the work that Obsidian has done, to take the time out to go back and look and check to see if the cases have had results placed, which kind of leads me back to SF Investigates tweet where he talks about not the toilet paper, but this one, basically stating that there should be no reason why her medical records are still being held, right? Unfortunately, they're still sealed. There's probably nothing that we can do about it, and we're just gonna have to patiently wait. And I do ask that you guys just be patient, right? LAPD, law enforcement, medical examiners, they're doing everything they can to bring justice for Celeste. And don't be mad if we don't ever get to see those files. She is a minor, and I think before we ever get to see them, I think it would be really important for her family to see them, so then that way they can get the closure that they need, so they can continue their grieving process. LAPD don't like transparency. I don't know if I agree or not. I just feel like they're under a ton amount of pressure. I mean, for those of you guys that are familiar with the news that happens in LA, we just recently had a very high profile double murder that took place the other night. So of course, given the high profile magnitude of that case, that one kind of outshined Celeste's case for the time being. And that's still going on right now. So I'm not saying that, the Rob Reiner case right now is also going on right now with the LAPD. Obviously, they have their son, Nick Reiner, who was obviously arrested. And I guess we're waiting to see if he's going to be able to stand trial. or if they're going to try to take a plea of insanity. Who knows, right? LAPD don't like transparency because transparency leads to Mark Furman saying the N-word and OJ going free. If the glove don't fit, then you must acquit, right? I think Strategic Eye says, if the bonnet don't fit, then you must acquit. Anyways, you guys, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I do got to take a quick nap and then get up and get ready for work tomorrow. So I will definitely see you guys soon. Again, if you guys, hung out for a majority of this stream, which was 3 hours and 34 minutes so far, man, thank you. This wasn't even supposed to be a planned live. I really came on here to just test the audio and the layout that I had. Did the audio sound okay tonight? Did it sound good? Keep peace. Thank you. Are you a new subscriber? Because I don't know if I've seen you in any of the shows before. And if you have been in the shows, you've been lurking and not talking in the chats. Gold Digger, you're still awake. I love that you stay up as late as I do and keep me company. So I appreciate you. Perfect. I think I finally was able to figure it out, Goal, after how many tries? I'll turn my camera on now. After how many tries we got it to work? You're a newbie. Well, welcome. We're on our way to applying to monetize our channel. So all I ask you guys, damn, we got 52 people in here now. That's like a record for me, you guys. That's pretty crazy for a test live. And I'm a small channel, you guys. I admit it. But I promise you, we're putting in the work here. We're deep diving. We're getting all the information that we can to help satisfy your needs to know that we're going to get justice for Celeste. But anyways, do me a favor, for all 52 of you guys that are lurking in the chats, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. You guys have heard this millions of times. It helps us with the algorithm, right? I'm a micro channel, so I'm out here competing with all the titans, all the heavy hitters out here, trying to just, claim a small spot of the YouTube space. So I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. I can't even charge you to be a member because I don't have it yet. So do me a favor, hit the like button. And I will see you guys next time. Should I do another live soon? And if I do, I'd hope to see you guys all there. I'm going to play the outro that I have loaded. It's probably the old one. I wasn't able to load one because I really wasn't planning to come on. But I'll see you guys later. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is that you are watching this. Please have a good rest of your day, night, or afternoon. I'll see you guys later, guys. Take care. Peace. Oh, nope. That was the wrong one. Damn. Okay. Peace.